Hey y'all, how are you? I hope and pray that you have had an amazing day. Sorry, I'm running behind a little bit. Nevertheless, I am here. I am ready. We're going to talk about anti-marriage spirits of divorce. I got a lot of notes for you. I'm going to do something new on the live. From here on out, I'll wait for you guys to load up into the room and I'll tell you what's been on my heart to do since last week. I didn't do it last week. I wish I had it, but it's not too late. But something that has been on my heart to do since I have learned to transcribe my notes. So if you don't know, I write all my notes out on a piece of paper and usually have several pages, but I've learned it because I'm still write them out, but I can take a picture of them and have them transcribed online. And I'm thinking about creating something where you guys can download them. I may put them up like ebooks and stuff like that. If I do it as an ebook, I have to format it, so it will be a little charge. So I think I won't charge any more than like $2.99, maybe $1.99 for the file, and it'll probably be about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. And I'll try to add scriptures and stuff like that, so it'll be just kind of like a minor ebook. I don't want to call it an ebook because I don't want it to mess with the books that I currently have out. And what I mean by that is I am authoring my 70th book right now. I just finished my 70th book. It's under review. Well, not under review as it relates to publishing, but I'm talking about the last round of edits. And once I publish it, it will be book number 70. And so I don't want to count these as books because I don't see them as actual authentic books unless it's about, and this is just me, everybody's different, unless it's about 100 pages and stuff like that. So I'll have them as just kind of ebooks or what have you. So that is to say, from here on out, God willing, I will take a picture and transcribe my notes so that you will have the opportunity to potentially go on my website or go somewhere and you can purchase the notes or what have you. And they will be formatted, everything, and I have scriptures added to it. So it'll have a little bit more than what you hear me saying in the video. So it won't just be what you hear me saying in the video. It would be a lot more added to it, or a little more added to it. With that being said, how are you doing? How has your day been? I have had a pretty good day, a pretty busy day. I am, and I'm over here mad at myself now because I just realized I didn't bring any tissue over here with me. And the reason that is important is because I have been dealing with flu-like symptoms for about a week now. And it started off Tuesday of last week. It started off Tuesday of last week. And it felt like the end of the flu. You know, at the end of the flu, you have all these just this coughing. You just constantly coughing, and you're just coughing up the rest of it. It started off that way, and then come Wednesday, I was laid out on my couch running a high fever. But funny thing about it is, I'm laying out on my couch, and this is small talk as everybody's coming in the room. I was laying on my couch, running a high fever, sitting up there, didn't feel like moving, and I was wondering, why am I so tired, right? Because it's not in my mind that I'm not well. In my mind, I'm just, dealing with whatever that is. I thought it was just sinus drainage. But I was running a high fever, and then I started doing some research, and I'll talk about that, what have you, because one thing about me is if I'm laying down, if I feel incapacitated in any way, I'm still going to probably find something to work on. If I can work on it from my phone, I'm still going to find something to work on. I hate not working, or I hate being, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't like having days to go by that I don't do something in my purpose. I do believe in rest. I do have rest days. I just don't ever want to get acclimated to laziness again. I never want to get acclimated to procrastination again. I never want to get acclimated to taking time off, and then that time off turns into laziness and excuses, and you go back into a system. I think that once God delivers you from a system, idle, thank you. Once God delivers you from a system, you become very self-aware about not wanting to go back into it. And sometimes it can be a bit of trauma. You came out of it, you're like, I ain't going back. But that's that. So I wanted to talk about this, and I think it's on time. So as you're coming into the room, I'll tell you how I feel like this is on time. I already made it up in my mind. I wanted to talk about divorce and anti-marriage spirits And I think it was about, I don't remember why I wanted to talk about this. I feel like it was a conversation I had with somebody. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about divorce and anti-marriage. Well, I ended up, and you guys have ever heard me talking about my great grandmother. I've talked about her, and if you followed my story, if you been a person that watched a lot of my videos, then I talk about how I have adored her and her husband, even though they passed away when I was turning. Come to find out, I was 6. I used to always say 5, but after doing some further research and stuff like that, I found her name online. I found a lot of stuff, and I saw her death date. She died when I was 6 years old. But I talked about how her and my granddad, they owned a store together. Well, they own a few businesses together. I always said 2, right? They own 2 businesses together. I remember they used to babysit me. I remember in prayer one time I was at church and I had a vision and God said, she anointed you. I remember going to church with her. I remember being afraid at her church because the people were running around, right? Because I grew up Baptist in my family, and they were too, because come to find out my great granddad started some missionary Baptist churches down in Mississippi. One of them happens to be a landmark, I think, down in either Morgan City, Mississippi, or Ithaca, Mississippi, but his name is still on it. So I've been in a place of discovery. So while I was laying over there not feeling so good, I was doing research. I ain't had no drink, no energy. You hear me? No energy. I don't know if that was Wednesday. Wednesday I caught a fever. I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday, but I do remember. Oh dang! I forgot the camera. Trying to get close, but I do remember. One day I happened to be laying on the couch and I was doing some research, and I found out last year that, or probably several months ago, that there is a book out with an interview that my great grandmama did. Remember I told you guys I had got a prophetic word one time that I had the anointing of my grandmother. And at first I was about to rebuke the lady that called me, right? Because I'm just like, I was thinking about my mom's side of the family. And even though she was a wonderful woman, what have you, she was operating, she went to church, right? But they weren't necessarily operating in the things of God. But my great grandma on my dad's side of the family, who raised him, because his mother died at the age of 24 from tuberculosis. So long story short, to kind of fast forward through it, I found an interview that they did. So after doing some deep research, I literally found I got access to the interview. And it says 14 pages, but it's about 12 pages in length. And I found out that not only did they own 2 businesses, they owned several businesses from the interview. So it was like a lot of confirmation, good. And there was one thing that wasn't so good. But I found a lot of good things in the interview. Like I said, her and my great grandfather, they owned several businesses together. They owned several businesses. They were wealthy. And what was I about to say? It's an interview, but I reached out to the Mississippi Department of Archives. I'm trying to get a release so that I can actually publish the interview, right? So I reached out to the Mississippi Department of Archives because I'm just blown away. I called my dad. I reached out to him and I told him about it. So he's excited, but I told him I reached out to the Department of Archives trying to see if I can get access to the interview. But in reading the interview, one of the things that it just seems like a confirmation is to talk about divorce spirits of anti-marriage and spirits of divorce. And in reading the interview and in talking to my dad, I realized all the more that I used to always say the spirit of divorce came from my mama's side of the family, but no, it comes strong from my dad's side of the family too. And that's one of the things that happens. And, we're going to talk about this. I think that this is going to be a pretty revelatory message for those of you who may have divorce in your family, or maybe you don't have it in your family, because a lot of people think, well, the people in my family stay married, so I don't need that. No, everything starts off with one person, right? So you can be, and we pray that you're not, but somebody is going to be the initiator, the instigator of a curse. All right. And so I believe that this particular message is going to help you to avoid being that, or is going to help you avoid continuing in the curse. Even if you're married, I believe that this particular message is going to be helpful. It's going to be revelatory. I believe it's going to be an eye opener. And like I said, I have so many notes that I'm not going to even tell you. I have notes here on paper And I have other notes. I got so many notes on this that I may just turn it into a note ebook, right? A note ebook. We'll call it a note ebook or what have you. But I may start doing that. I'm thinking about doing that after every live. Is I'll have a cover created for it, or I'll develop a cover for it, and I'll make sure that I have notes available for you after every live. You can purchase it for probably, like I said, $2.99, $3.99. I'll make it dirt cheap so that you can have access to the notes. So if you want to take notes, great. But I will go out of my way to make sure that these notes are available to you. But like I said, I found out that divorce runs strong in my bloodline, and I can honestly see it. I can see it because it ran through me. Even though I'm a curse breaker, I was a curse carrier for a while. I've been married and divorced 2 times, right? And that thing was it was continuing through me. And I can say one thing I love about, I hate to be a carrier, but one thing I can say is if something has operated in you, once you get healed, delivered, set free from it, you can talk about the inner workings of it, right? You can talk about the inner workings of it. You can talk about the mindset. You can talk about the insecurities. You can talk about the stuff that nobody talks about. What we have today, we have a lot of people that go and they look for the people that have been married 20 and 30 years, never went through a divorce, and that's great. Many of them are great. They're effective. They will help you. But I also think that there is a strong anointing on those of us who've made the mistake, right? But we had to overcome it. I think there's an anointing for us because we come to tell you how to avoid. All right, we come to tell you how to avoid. I'm trying to get this blur out of my camera because my blur. Why you don't blur? It's blurring the background and blurring me. Either way, go. Y'all can get this message. But I believe there's a strong anointing for those of us who get set free from something, for us to come and tell you, like, hey, let me tell you the mistake that I made. Let me tell you what I learned. And it's not even just because I need everybody with a working set of ears to hear me. I'm not a blame gamer. I'm not one of those people that do the blame game. As a matter of fact, I would warn you not to marry somebody that played the blame game. I'm one of those people that believe heavily in accountability. I would dare you and I would challenge you never to marry somebody who can't take accountability for their role in their own pain. Anybody that sits back and tells you that everybody that they've ever broke up with or that has ever broke up with them, it was that person's fault, and then they may take a minor, well, yeah, I did my dirt too, but they place the majority of the blame on the other person, is somebody that's going to repeat the mistake. I'm already teaching. There's somebody that's going to repeat the mistake because they think that they're good enough for marriage, but the other people just could not handle them. And people who have the handle me mentality don't make for good spouses because they still bring the same old trash. They still bring the same old mindset, the same issues, the same demons, the same strongholds, the same insecurities. They still bring those with them into marriage and into their new relationships with the belief that, hey, you a new person, here go my issues, and so handle them. All right, handle them. And they expect you to be able to handle them well so that they can catch this, turn around and look at the people that let them go and say, see, I got somebody right now that know how to deal with me. I got somebody right now that know how to handle me. I got somebody right now that know how to love me, right? My issues ain't, see, this is why you got to go get the right person or what have you. If I never challenged you, I want to challenge you from your throat up to stop looking for the right person and become the right person. I'm preaching already, because that is the safety net that you need outside of Jesus Christ and following the word of God. Is you need the safety net of being a safe place. You need the safety net of being a blessing everywhere that you go. You got to have that safety net. You can't just come in and expect people to tolerate you. That's me included. I can't go into a marriage and expect a man to tolerate me. If I have ways that need to be eradicated, ways that need to be coughed up, vomited out, or lived out, if I got ways that are not good, they gotta go. They gotta go. All right. And so you find these ways through relationships. And I'm not just saying romantic relationship. You find it when you have friendships. You find it when you have leaders. You have accountability. When you have people that you are accountable to, you find these ways where they're able to point it out and they can say, hey, you need to get rid of that. Hey, that's a personality trait. So when I look back, like I said, I found this archive and I'm absolutely blown away of my great grandmother. This woman was a beautiful woman. I admired, if you ever watch me, I admired her marriage. Man, and I still admire her marriage with my great grandfather. I admired the love that I saw with them. Like, I just remember that. If I don't remember nothing else about them, I remember how much they loved each other, right? I remember just looking at them like they would babysit me. And I remember I was safe. I felt the love. I remember she cooked all the time. I ain't like everything she cooked because I've never been, forgive me for saying this, I ain't never been real like deep soul food. Like I like some soul food, but I'm a very eater. I don't like okra. Boiled okra, you could not pistol with me and make me eat it. I remember she cooked that a lot, right? And she tried to get me to eat it, and I just would not eat it. I don't care. It was just slimy. But I just remember her cooking. I remember all these great and wonderful things about her. But to go and look at the history and going through ancestry.com, doing all this research, like doing a real deep dive, and knowing that she's been divorced before, I'm like, how? Because this was a true woman of God. How did she end up going through a divorce? How did she end up in the pickle that she ended up in? With her and my great grandfather, they remained married for like 27, 30 years until their passing, but then she had a kid, which is my dad's mom. And my dad's mom passed away at the age of 24. But by the time she hit 24, she had been married and divorced. Right? Rope and remove the slime. I don't know. It's just been forbidden. I got a restraining order against okra. But by the time she hit 24, she had been married and divorced. And it made me say, just watching that, because I've renounced the spirit of divorce. I've repented. I've had to get rid of some beliefs. I've had to get rid of some things and what have you. But I'm still editing my life. I'm still watching. I'm still monitoring. I'm still looking like, okay, you can't carry that. You can't keep that. You got to get rid of that. What have you. But she had been married and divorced. And when she passed away, I didn't know that she was married to my great grandfather. I thought they fornicated, but it was good to know that she used to be married to my great grandfather, but they ended up divorcing and she married another man and she went through a divorce, which I can go into the depth of that and say, I think a spirit spouse was involved in that. She ended up passing away of tuberculosis. And looking at that and seeing that in my bloodline, right? Looking at that and seeing that in my bloodline, which one is mine? Sister Patrice is authorized. If you see somebody with a wrench by their name, that is so she's authorized. All right. She's the one, she's working for, she is doing moderation for me. So if you see somebody with a wrench by their name, then that's the authentic Cash App. But, and y'all forgive me if I go into a coughing spell. God knows I bring no tissue over here with me. And I don't even have no board over here with me. Because I have been dealing with this and I can feel this cough want to come up. So if I have to go into that, if I have to close my camera for a few minutes and go, just understand why. I'm going to try not to. All right. So looking at her life and seeing that, it helped me to understand all the more that a lot of the stuff that I went through, this is why I tell you, take accountability. I can't just blame the men of old. I can't just say, oh, we divorced because he cheated. That's the fruit of why we divorced, right? That was the manifestation. And one of the things I tell you, you have to go beyond the fruit in order for you to get rid of the weed. You heard what I just said? You have to go beyond the fruit. This is what we are taught to do in American culture, is to look at the fruit. I can say first time his fruit was he was an abusive man. He cheated. He was incredibly narcissistic, and I'm telling the truth. But there's a root there. And if we sit back and we keep pulling the fruit off, then the tree's going to keep reproducing the same fruit in a new season. If you don't deal with the root of the thing, it's going to keep on coming back up, right? And I can look at the second one and say, okay, he cheated. He was a serial cheater. Come to find out, it was a lot of, he had a whole other life outside of me, right? And then he bought witchcraft in the house and what have you. And that was the fruit. That was the last straw. That was the manifestation. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the reason. But at the end of the day, there's still a root there. And guess what? I'm the common denominator. All right. That's my sister. I love her. But I'm the common denominator in my story. And I want you to hear this. You're the common denominator in your story. And if you never learn that, most American Christians, the majority of you, and I love you dearly, you do not take accountability well, which is why a divorce in America is so prominent. You don't take accountability well. The amount of times I sit down and talk to people and I just listen to them, most Americans are narcissistic. You're on the spectrum, a little bit more on the spectrum than you ought to be. And what I mean by that, there's a spectrum of narcissism. Everybody is narcissistic. That's a human being. And it just means they're self-centered, full of sin, self-worship, or what have you. And there is a normalized narcissism that we don't necessarily normally or necessarily consider to be narcissistic. But then there is the abnormal narcissism where we start saying that person has a problem, right? And in America, we have different degrees. You go on TikTok, you can see a degree of narcissism in this girl, a degree of narcissism in this guy. You can see all those different degrees of narcissism. Chantel, thank you for the cash up. God bless you, beautiful. Thank you for kicking it off. You can see degrees of narcissism in different people. And the thing about it is, what we don't realize is that the purpose of human relationships is so that we can see the narcissism within ourselves. We can see what individualizes us, not what makes us different, but what makes us insufferable. So that whenever I have a friendship, my friend may see something with me or something that I have a tendency to do that I don't realize that I'm doing. And my friend can tell me, hey, you keep doing this, you need to stop doing that. And me having that friend helps to prepare me for not just marriage, but for tables that I'm going to sit at, because that friend, she's a level or he's a level. And that friend, when they tell me that, if I'm wise, I take that and I put it before the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And I sit back and I get the therapy. I get whatever I need to get rid of that issue, because catch this, that issue has closed some doors in my face and I didn't know it, which is why the purpose of relationships is that, or one of the purposes of relationships is that God brings people around you to show you what keeps doors shut in your face. Okay. See, some of y'all think friendship is all about you. You have turned your friends into your little pets and stuff like that. No. One of the purposes of relationships is for people to tell you why you don't have what you have been praying for. Why don't you have the man of God yet? Why don't you have the woman of God yet? Hey, why don't you have that bank account yet that you're supposed to have? Why are you still struggling? Why are you still struggling with poverty? Why are you still dealing with pornography? Why? That's the purpose of relationships, because when people come in that can relate to you, there are going to be areas that they can't relate to. And the areas that they can't relate to is the area where y'all become enemies, because every last one of your friends is an enemy of yours in an area. And it doesn't mean that they are opposing you. It means that they are opposed to you in one area or another, which means that I can be financially in alignment with a friend, but I may not be romantically in alignment with her. She may have a belief system over there when it comes down to romance that I don't agree with. And two can only walk together except they agree. So when we start talking financially, we are flowing. But when we get in a romantic realm, we're going to argue, right? So we may avoid those type of talks, or if she's wise, if I'm wise in that area, then she realizes I'm not her friend over here. I'm her mentor. Right? Because you have to learn to adjust in friendship, that in some cases, there'll be times and there'll be dynamics, there'll be spaces where the person is a mentor, and you got to be humble enough to be mentored. Every last one of your friends, every person that comes into your life is going to serve as a mentee or a mentor in one area or another. Okay. That's just for those who have ears to hear. That's not for everybody up in here. And I'm trying to get this camera to stop getting up in my face. But every last one of your friends is going to be opposed to you in one area or another, right? Every last one of your friends. If you don't have my book, Relational Acuity, I would tell you to go get that book. It will bless your life, right? because in there I talk about friendship because I think we have America, we have the most misguided concept of what friendship is. We think that friendship is, oh my gosh, you want to go here? Let's do that. I love you. Let me take my secrets. You gonna keep it? You gonna keep it? Okay, I never got about you. All of that kind of stuff. All of those things are true. But friendship is not meant to be a storage center. It's not that I'm your personal storage, right? Friendship is designed that if I have an issue, I can come lean to you and I shouldn't just have to share my issue. You got to be able to look at me and say, Tip, can I talk to you right quick? There is something eating away at you. And I notice, like, I could have a friend that's strong in marriage, right? She could be married, God-fearing, and God been blessing her marriage and what have you. Here I am, a single woman, twice divorced. And I could be having a conversation with her, hanging out with her, and we cool. And in that area where she's rich, where she's blossoming, where she has a garden, I have a wilderness. And so she may say, well, Sister Tiffany, let me love you enough to just say something. You got this right here, and I don't think a man to be able to tolerate that. Not a good guy. So this is what I think that, because when me and such, when we do this and this, that, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I have to be teachable. And I have to understand in that moment that I'm no longer the friend. I'm gonna get to the revelation, but I gotta give you this. In this moment, I'm no longer a friend. In this moment, I'm a mentee. In this moment, I'm a mentee. In this ain't my moment to show her how much I know. This ain't my moment to show, well, I respect you and Pray Travion's relationship and all that other stuff. But you got to understand, that's stupid. That's my time to ask questions. That's my time to issue in my rebuttal. So this is what I think, or what have you. And she can turn around and say, I feel you, but I used to think that same way too. And then she can offer me, one man plants and other waters, but it is God who gives the increase. So she just dropped the seed. That is the purpose. In another area, she may be weak and she may be ignorant and she may be foolish. And in that area is where I start dropping. And that's when she becomes a mentee. That's when she becomes a mentee. The same is true when it comes down to marriage. See, I know we got the concept, and I can't wait to get to these notes, y'all. But I know we understand the concept of the husband being the head of the house. We know that. But it does not mean that your husband won't learn anything from you. And that's why you don't ever get with a man who's unteachable. You never get with a man who has pride, because God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. If God resists him, you should resist him too. If God resists her, you should resist her too. Because they're going to resist you. When you're trying to give them the truth, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They like this, which means they stuck. They got a hard heart. There's no revelation, a hard heart. There's no, God can't plant the seeds. One man plants, another waters, but it is God who gives the increase. They won't even let nobody plant nothing there. So you got to hear me. When you meet the man of God, the woman of God, or whoever it is that you're believing God for, whenever you meet the one, or when you meet someone, you got to make sure that they have a teachable spirit. Because when you go into a relationship, it's a seesaw. Even though I get married, my husband's the head of the house. He's the head of the house. But the Bible, you heard me teach this before, the Bible refers to wisdom as her, right? God, in his wisdom and his ingenuity, I talked about this on the last slide. One of the ways that God humbles the head is that he puts wisdom in a low place. So he has to humble himself to get it. He has to humble himself to get it, right? And stubbornness is as iniquity. So stubbornness is as idolatry, But God will put wisdom in me that my husband needs. He can be ignorant, stupid, and failing in an area where I'm thriving. And if he's unteachable because I'm a woman or because he's the head of the house, that ain't nobody you marry. Because that man is going to then turn around and make it where we can't blossom over there because I happen to be born with lady parts, and he can't receive from somebody with lady parts. And so he got a lot of pride and stubbornness. And so God resists the proud and give grace to the humble. So then I have to suffer from my household not being blessed, or not being as blessed as it could be, because he got to be the man. He got to be the man. No, God hides wisdom in low places. That's how he is strategic like that. I talked about on last slide. He'll put wisdom in a crackhead. When you over there trying to figure out how to break something, he'll put wisdom in a low place just to test your humility. And if you can't take it from the low place, but you look up to somebody that you esteem, God will make it where that person that you esteem is stupid in the area where you need revelation. I can't get it unless it's from my pastor and he happens to be a man. And then the pastor don't know what he's talking about in that area. That pastor ain't got no revelation, ain't got no word in that area. He's just looking at you. You say, well, I mean, y'all just go and pray about it. Maybe you get a therapist or whatever. Why? God intentionally put a wall there, put an angel there to protect that revelation, and said, no, I put the answer to his prayer in the mouth of a fish. I put the answer to his prayer in the mouth of his wife. And now he's going to have to humble himself to get it. I put the answer to his prayer in the mouth of his child or her child. And that way they got to humble themselves to get it. And so this is one of the things, like I said, can lead to divorce is when we don't have that intimate enough relationship with God where we can move in humility. All right. I'm going to talk about divorce and anti-marriage spirits. Like I said, I found out that it runs on both sides of my family. Right. And when I looked at both sides of my family, now I feel like on my dad's side of the family, they kind of repented because my great-grandma, my great-granddaddy were married for 27 years or I don't know, during their 30 years. And I found the archive, they did an actual interview with her because she used to host. I didn't know this. Like my mind was blown. A lot of stuff I didn't know about her. I was reading in the interview. She used to host freedom riders in her house. All right. They used to host, I don't know why I always say she. But they used to host freedom riders in their house, right? And if you don't know what a freedom rider was, a freedom rider was somebody that basically was typically in most cases a white person that had come to the South to come against the racism. They went undercover. They did a lot of stuff to overturn racism and overturn racist movements. They were going through the suffering with a lot of Black people and stuff like that. And they were getting killed off and stuff like that. And a lot of people were hiding them out because folks would seek them out to kill them or what have you. And she, in her interview, she's talking about hosting they hosted 3 freedom riders. One lady stayed with them for a year. She was talking, just the stuff that I learned about them, including the fact that they lived in Mississippi and they were living in a real well-to-do area and stuff like that. And they were doing well as Black people. And the people were so upset, to drive them out of there. They poured gasoline around their house. Said her husband, they thought it was blood. They just saw red around their house. And I think it was kerosene, gasoline, I don't know. But she said her husband told her to stay in the house and he went out there and he smelled it. He was like, that's gasoline. And they ended up moving as a result of that, just to stay safe and what have you. But the only bad thing I found in that interview, the thing I didn't like was that my grandma talked about getting sick. Right. The snorting, you got to get out the live. I would tell you, if you can't deal with it, I'm dealing with something, so I can't do nothing about it. But she talked about she got sick. So they were into witchcraft. They weren't into witchcraft as in practitioners, but they were believers in it. And I hate that for them. Right. And obviously I renounced it off my life. And I do know that they had got into Masonry, Freemasonry as well. But she talked about Itta, Bina, next word, Bena. She talked about when she got deathly sick around this time, a lot of people were practicing witchcraft, or there was somebody that was doing like strong witchcraft and people were dying as a result of the witchcraft, and a 2-headed something, I don't know what we're talking about, but she had got really, really sick. And when she got really sick and she wasn't getting any better, her husband freaked out. And there was a warlock in town. And I guess they thought he could, warlocks can do good and evil, which is customary for the South, especially during that time. They really heavily believed in good witches, which we know there's no such thing, but they believed in good witches and good warlocks. And so she said that after a while, my great-grandfather picked her up and he carried her because I guess she couldn't walk that well because she was so sick. He carried her to the warlock's house, walked in the warlock's house, walked in the warlock's bedroom, and was like, I need you to break this off of my wife. Say, I need you to break. It said a man was in the bed, and he looked at them, And he told my granddad, he was like, ain't nothing wrong with your wife. Ain't nobody got no witchcraft on her. Take her back home. So there was no spell done, but that was not so exciting to see that they believed in it. Nevertheless, it wasn't so exciting to see that they believed in it, but it was good to hear their voice, the things that they did for Christ, the stuff that they believed, and all of that other stuff. But like I said, customary for the South, a lot of them. Right. Ryan Coogler film. Y'all have no idea. You have no idea how excited. Like I said, I was laid out on my couch. I had zero energy. All right, zero. When I tell you that thing, that when I started reading the interview, not that part of it, when I started reading the interview, I sat up and it was almost time for me to go to bed, or I was way past time for me to go to bed. I got so excited I couldn't go to bed. I got so excited I couldn't go to bed. But I learned, like I said, that is something that moved in the family. And I want to teach you guys how anti-marriage spirits work. It's going to blow your mind. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about anti-marriage spirits. We're going to talk about divorce spirits, and you're going to find out how they work. A lot of the stuff I'm not going to be able to go in detail about because I got quite a few notes to give you. Like I said, for those of you who are just coming in, if you want to take notes, that'd be great. If not, what I'm going to do at the end of every live, it'll be in the comment section. Starting next live, I'll probably have a form. But at the end of the live, what I'll do is I'm able to transcribe these. As a matter of fact, I've already taken a picture of them and have them gone through the transcription. I'll add some scriptures and stuff like that, and I'll create little ebooks after each live for my notes, since I typically have a lot of notes and stuff like that. And you'll be able to purchase the ebook, and I'll probably charge, I would say about $1.99, $2.99. All right, so for you to download it, so you'll have access to the notes and you'll have access to scriptures and stuff like that. If you are struggling, I want you to start looking at life, not just don't just come get teachings and think to yourself, oh, that was good. No, study the stuff out. Study the stuff out. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people who have generational patterns, generational systems, generational curses that have been present and active in their lives. And I wanted to, say, I'll ask them, I say, are you studying this stuff out? And they look at me and they're like, nah, I mean, I hear you preaching, and I'm like, whatever has familiarized itself with you, you should familiarize yourself with it. See, that's the nature of warfare. Warfare isn't, okay, I want you to imagine that you were in the military. Warfare isn't you just being given a gun and tossed out into the forest and then you go and find the enemy. No, you got to have a strategy. You got to study how your enemy fight. How did they fight in previous wars? How have they been fighting y'all? What has been their strategy? You got to study the enemy that studies you. This is why so many of you keep losing. You're losing a war. You're losing a battle that's already won because you're not studying the enemy that studied you. If Jezebel runs in your bloodline, then you need to educate yourself about Jezebel. Right? If that Jezebel narcissism, all that running your bloodline, you need to make sure, right? These are star history. You got to educate yourself. What comes after that kind of stuff? What are the characteristics so that you can see that stuff in you? And that way you can get rid of it out of you. Because here, I have to say this, because most of you, when you hear that kind of stuff, yeah, because I got to be able to identify that spirit when it come after me. No, you need to identify it then, but you also need to identify it in yourself. You need to be able to identify it in yourself. A lot of my deliverance came from me being able to identify stuff in me, not me kind of and plucking people apart and telling them what's wrong with them. No, it's me being able to identify, remove the plank from my own eye. And then whenever a person comes along and they have that same spirit, I can see clearly because I used to have it. And I'm like, hey, you need to get rid of that. You need to get rid of that. And if they don't get rid of that, then I'm sorry, I get rid of them. If they don't want to get rid of it, then I know, okay, it ain't going to work between us because I already know what that thing did to my life. And I already know that if you don't get rid of it, it's going to do the same thing. So if I'm dating you or anything, we don't move beyond that, because what's going to happen is that same issue that I've overcome is still trying to make its way back into my life, but it can't attach itself to me. So it can't come and operate through me. So it wants to operate through you. The devil is a cockeyed three-feather busted booty line. I ain't going. All right. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to talk about marriage spirits. anti-marriage spirits, and I'm going to talk about spirits of divorce. And like I said, some of these I'm going to have to move through kind of fast. So I'll have an ebook present for those of you who want to get an ebook after the fact. I'm happy. I'll make sure that once I'm done, I should have formatted it before here, but once I'm done, like I said, I got notes that are written out, but I've learned to take pictures of them, and I can actually take them online and transcribe them, and I'll be doing that for you guys. All right. I hope you guys are ready. Because this is going to be good. Anti-marriage spirits are demons that actively and aggressively work to prevent people from getting married or being marriage ready when their times come up. Right? I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read it where I wrote it because I didn't read it right where I wrote it. Anti-marriage spirits are demons that actually and aggressively work to prevent people from getting married or being marriage ready. Their favorite ploys include, right? First, let me just stop this. They try to make sure that you never get marriage ready. Over 90% of Christians I come in contact with are not marriage ready. I would say 80%. If I'm trying to be nice to make sure your feelings feel cushiony, 75% of you're not marriage ready. You're not marriage ready. Why? Because you're not fixing the problems in your life. You got to understand that the problems that present themselves are not there to torment you, even though the enemy does use them to torment you. The problems are there for you to fix them. The problems are there for you to fix them. So your money problem is not there for you to wait for a man that's got money to come along, or to find somebody in your house that in your family that you can live with. Your money problem is the answer to your prayer come wrapped in a hard thing. So in order for you to get access to the hard thing, you got to put pressure on it. In order for me to get access to this problem, ashy hands. These jokers get ashy. Okay? That's the problem. Solution. I bought African shea butter. Whipped shea butter. Not instead of say African, it just says whipped shea butter. Right? And it is a form. It is an African one because it's got an African name. But I bought shea butter, right? Whipped. All right. If you get shea butter, get the whip. Because the other kind, you be digging it. You got to put muscle to it. Unless you're a dude and you want to play with your muscles. Okay? Right. The problem. Ash. Solution. Guess what I got to do? Catch this. When I go there to buy this, it comes in this case. This case don't do jack. It just holds it. This is the hard thing I got to deal with. Now, being a single woman, I have to do this a lot. Who screwed this? You lying? Right? I have to figure out. So I got to deal with the hard thing to get to what I want on the inside of the hard thing. I gotta go through the hard thing to get to what I want in the hard thing, right? So I gotta put the pressure on it. First, I had to work to get the money. I had to invest the time. All that I gotta do. It's a whole process, right? But then I get the hard thing, and I gotta until I finally get it open. Everything God created comes in many cases in and out of shell. Anything that if you look at any type of container, I got my trusted, because if I went to the store, they're not going to just pour this in my hand. That's what I want. I don't go to the store like this. Shea butter, please. They got to put it in a container. I got a bottle of water over there. I can't drink. I'm not going to drink it because that's why I said I don't have any water over here because one I had fell on the floor. Even though the top is on it and stuff like that, there's me. And me at the floor, I'm not going to drink it. But we can look at this trusted Raid Max Spider and Scorpion Spray. Kills on contact. It did not kill a spider on contact the other day, by the way. I sprayed a big old giant spider and that thing stood there and act like I sprayed it with cologne. All right, it stood there. It ran up a few feet and it stood there. And I waited for 5 minutes for that thing to twerk and it did jump. It just stood there. Okay, I'm waiting on that thing to, it ain't do nothing. It was just like, so I sprayed it again. It ran up a few feet and stood there. Another 3-4 minutes. Nothing. Right, and I was like, it was just taking it in. It was just like, whew, it's raining. But you see, it comes in a hard thing. Oh, I ended up spraying ant spray on it, and the ant spray finally took it out, which was weird. I was like, you a spider. How you dance? Now you want to run and do all this, right? You ain't on it in. All right. I went into my truck because I got all types of insect spray, right? Because but everything you want comes in a case. I don't go to the store and say, I be seeing spiders in my house sometime. Could y'all give me something? And they say, okay, cool, open your mouth. And so you keep it, just try not to swallow it. And then you go home and put it in a cup and spit it out. It has to come in a container, right? I'm gonna have to get some bleach. Those people telling me use some bleach and stuff like that. Cause these Georgia spiders, they different. I don't know what the heck going on with them, right? Okay, I'm gonna look that up. Everything comes in a container. The stuff that you pray for comes in a container. Oh, y'all didn't know that. Oh, y'all, I wish y'all do me a favor, real quick, because you're cute. Like and share, subscribe. You know somebody that can help. Just share this on your Facebook. Share this. Stop real quick. For those of you who's just looking, share. Please share. All right. When you ask God for something, sometimes it comes in a container. Your problem is you're waiting for an invisible cloud of dust because you don't watch too many Disney movies. You're waiting for this invisible cloud of dust, this magical stuff, right? You're waiting for this stuff to happen. If I ask God, if I say, God, send me my husband, I'm ready for him, God. I thank you for the season of singleness that you've given me, but I'm ready to aid and be aided because it can get a bit rough. But Father, send me the man of God in Jesus' name. Most of you think that prayer is going to end with me going to church one day and some man going to walk up to me and he going to bump me and I'm going to jump and I'm going to look at him. He going to look at me and he going to be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, excuse me. It's okay. It's fine. He'll be like, Troy. And I'll be like, hey, Troy, nice to meet you. I've been seeing you around church and all that. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Yes. So, how long you been going here? I'm still kind of new to the place, but I'm really loving it. I thank God. God is amazing. Yeah. I've been here for about 3 years. Oh, okay. So you really like it? So are you on a ministry team? What have you? Y'all think we're gonna keep bumping into each other until we exchange numbers, and then that's gonna be my testimony. You think that's how that works, right? Ain't it? I love you, right? Ain't it? That's how you think that's how that works. That ain't how that works. The majority of cases, God's gonna send a container. Right, that's the majority of Americans think like that because we watch too much movie. The movie setting jacked us up. All right, the television setting jacked us up. That ain't typically how that's gonna work. The question that God asks, if I say I don't have what you promised me already, then God says, why don't you have it? So what God sends you, somebody write this in the chat. All right, I want to spell it out. I'm going to spell it out. And I want you to type the letters. Just type in his sin as I give you the letters, right? M. I'm waiting for somebody to put an infinite. M. I ain't moving to y'all. I hope somebody type in M. Okay, thank you. I. Come on, we're going to move this. I is just a one I. R. Y'all should already know where I'm going with this. Another R. O. Ain't a miracle. There's 2 R's. O. Somebody got the O. Thank you. R. What does that spell? Carolyn got it. He's gonna send you a miracle. He's gonna send you a mirror. Somebody put a miracle in it. No, he's gonna send you a mirror. He's going to show you what's keeping you from the thing that you're asking for. Most people don't know that. So you keep doing single season wrong. And many of you are 5, 7, 10 years out away from the time that God would have had your spouse in your life, because every time he sent you a mirror, you broke it. Every time he sent you a mirror, he will send you a friend that is a reflection of your problem. Because two can only work together if they be agreed. See, I talked about all them years where I've been a good friend, true friend. I will always end up with that false friend. And I had to come to realize that there's a reason that this person is here. There's a reason you're the common denominator. In America, see, we are, it's so much I could teach, but I would need 5 lives. In America, we live by the storyline model, that where there's a villain, there's a victim, and there's a hero. So we like to cast ourselves, because that's what Disney taught us to do. That's what Hollywood taught us to do. We like to cast ourselves as a victim. I was her friend, and she was mine. She was horrible. She did all these these weird things and stuff like that. And then we just normalize things like weird and all that other stuff. But realistically speaking, every person that's ever had a tenure, an extended stay in my life, has something in them that I could relate to, that I needed to get rid of. And the purpose of the relationship was for them to reflect to me what I was reflecting to God, so that I can get rid of that issue. And then when I got rid of the issue, then the person would have fell away, because that was the whole purpose of them being there. Or if the person got rid of their issue, we would continue to walk together. I wish you just heard what I said. I'm disrupting your whole Christian experience, baby. Every person that has time and tenure in your life is a reflection of you. Why do I always attract narcissists? Because you're narcissistic. It's not true. You're the lesser of two evils. But whatever it is that your man is dealing with, your woman is dealing with, and you were tolerating them, is what you've been reflecting to God. And it comes back reflected to you through a human being. I wish you heard what I said. I wish you heard me. My dog over there asleep. My dog over there said, this is why some of y'all don't even want to date. Because you don't want to get rid of that thing that's in you, because you don't want to date it in a person. See, somehow subconsciously, you know that you're jacked up. Tell me that you are a narcissist magnet, and I'm going to tell you that you're narcissistic. Tell me that you're a narcissist magnet. I'm going to tell you there's some narcissism to you, because two won't walk together except they be agreed. That's spiritual math. And if we walking together, and so if I come in contact with this person, and this person is hurting me, and they're hurting me, and I get rid of the person, and I meet that same spirit in another person, then I got to say, hey, there's something in me that is not only attracting a person, but causing me to be attracted to the person. There's a relatability there. So then, because they are a mirror, if I want to accelerate my deliverance and get to the thing that I'm praying for, then I go before God in an event, right? In magnet. I go to God in an event called repentance. Lord, show me myself. Father, this is what I saw in this woman. This is what I saw in this man. Lord, I repent. If this is what is in my heart, take it out. I wrote a song about that. It's called Accountability. But when I tell y'all, everybody and their daddy should get that song. I would play it, but then it'll flag my video because I've already copyright wrote it. I got a song called Accountability. It said accountability, one word, 6 vowels. Accountability. The mark of our trials is me, oh Lord, standing in need of prayer. Our biggest issue is that the television set jacked us up, where we see you in the mirror, but we don't see ourselves. Thank you, SG. Thank you, bless you. When I tell you, I love that song so much. I have replayed it, and I don't remember which session it is. Because I got several versions of it. I think it's session 7. I wish I could play it on this live, y'all. I wish I can play it on this live. I'll see if I can find it in the iTunes store. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll show y'all. I'm gonna get on the road with the revelation. No worries. Do you look in the iTunes store? I'd be so out of it. No, or no. I think you look at Apple Music. Where is it? iTunes? I don't know. No, you go to iTunes. Y'all gotta forgive me for being acting my age at times. Okay, accountability. Tiffany Buckner. I can play it on TikTok and I ain't gonna worry about it doing it in my video. This particular version right here, page 7. It's called Accountability. Go get that song. The lyrics will bless your life. The lyrics will bless your life. It is a man on the cover. Hold up. I'll play a few seconds. I'm a reap. Life as an algorithm, and pain is a teacher. I am not a victim. I simply reap what I sow. Your life will change the minute you realize that. All right, you can go to iTunes. You can go just type in accountability page 7, Tiffany Buckner, and you can find that song. The minute your life changes, the minute you realize that, which is why if I never told you a secret to not marrying into a divorce, never marry somebody who don't take accountability. Thank you, beautiful. Never ever, because they're not gonna do well in marriage. I played that song, and I'm telling you, I be driving home from my shop on the little back roads of my favorite tongue, the time sun shining, and I sit on one of my feet when I'm driving, y'all. So I'll just be up in my car just having fun. I'm on the back road coming home, and I'm just sitting up in there singing it. I'm not a victim, I'm a reaper. Life has an algorithm, and pain is a teacher. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a teacher. But in America, TikTok, the television set, all of that tells you that no, you're a nice person, you're a good person. And somebody came, and you know what? It's because you're anointed, okay? Wipe the tears from your lonely eyes, okay? And wipe the tears from your sagging eyes. It's because you're so anointed that they came along and they hurt you and they did all these wicked things to you. And it's just because of that, and you're like, no. Then you go back to the same thing again and again, and then you find yourself saying, why do I keep pattern? Why do I keep pattern? Pattern equals altar. Pattern equals stronghold. Why do I keep? Why do I keep? If I keep seeing it, I got a relationship with it. And if I don't want to keep seeing it, then the enemy that I see, the only way that I'll see that enemy no more is if I overcome the enemy from within. If I overcome the enemy from within, then I'll overcome it. But if I'm sitting up there and I come out of one marriage and I'm like, he was a cheating, nasty, narcissistic, just raggedy man, just slinging penis all over the South, okay? And if he had got to the North, he would have got y'all daughters too, just raggedy. What happened? It was just horrible. And I don't take accountability. You know what ends up happening? I marry him again in a different dude. Because when that dude comes along, he has that familiar spirit. There's a sense of comfortability. So I'm talking to the dude, and he's like, yeah, that's messed up. And I'm like, yeah, he did that. And the dude was like, yeah, my ex did that to me too. And I'm thinking, oh, you and I got something in common. We know what it feels like to be hurt. We know what it feels like to be cheated on. Okay, cool. You love me, I love you. We ain't got to worry about that no more. Then next thing you know, he cheating on me. So now I'm like confused. I don't get it. Because lean not to your own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I got a lot of notes to give you, so I got to get on the road to revelation. What I'm telling you is this. You got to overcome the enemy from within. If you got somebody that you know can this a bless, share it on your page. Send this to them, or just share it on your page. Take the moment to share. I don't have to overcome, because right now you got a lot of men who say, these women don't marry nobody that sound like that. Or women that say, these men don't marry nobody that sound like that. Because that person has not taken accountability. It ain't these women or those men. It's within. What I am, I attract. And if I don't like what I attract, I got to kill it from within. The people that come are a mirror. So if I ask God, God send me a husband, he sends me a mirror. So I'll meet friends that'll show me what's wrong with me. Either they're going to correct me. One man plants another waters. It's God who gives the increase, right? They're going to either correct me, they're going to point it out, or I may meet friends who have the same issue as me. And I go before God in prayer, talk about, I'm tired of her. And she be doing this, and she be doing that. And then I'm like, wait, I be doing that too. Dang, I do that to God. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Oh, God, I'm sorry. And when I repent for that and I get it out of me and I go to the root of it and I uproot it, then those friends start to fade away. They fade. Then I get others. And then God will continue to keep sending me different mirrors until I start breaking the mirror and I start cleaning it up and cleaning up my life. And then that is what reveals my husband, right? And then when I see the man, I'm like, oh, cool. God bless you. Because God gives good gifts to his children. If you ain't a good gift, he ain't trying to give you away. If you're not a good gift, I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna get into these pointers because some of y'all, I'm telling you, some of y'all ain't listening. Some of y'all sitting up there scratching behind your ear and watching TV. If you're not a good gift, God ain't trying to give you away. He give good gifts to his children. If you a burden, burdens get cast upon the Lord. If you just waiting on somebody to come along and make your life easier, your friends get rid of you for that very reason, because you're a burden. Because you got people that you like, I just want to have me some good friends. I want to have me this, but you want to be a burden to them, not a blessing. See, anybody that's ever been a blessing will tell you, you become very intentional about your friendships, because you're going to realize that a lot of people are walking around in survival mode and they just want to be a burden on somebody. And if you end up with 7 friends that all think from survival mode, then you got 7 burdens that are weighing down on you, and you can't be a blessing no more because you're too busy being taken advantage of and you being weighed down. Now you're dealing with unnecessary depression and sadness and anxiety while they sit up over there talking about, I showed up, thank God for you. No, when you a blessing, you surround yourself with blessings. You surround yourself with people that they trying to bless you and you blessing them back. And you just like, yeah, I got something for you too. I'm finna bless you too. I'm finna bless you too. That's how the blessings keep flowing. You don't surround yourself with people with gold teeth and entitlement. All right, we're gonna start talking about some of the characteristics of the anti-marriage spirit, right? We're going to talk about some of the ploys of the anti-marriage spirit. And some people are going to get blessed by this. So take notes. If you don't want to take notes, you ain't got to take notes. I'll make the notes available, but they will be for a purchase price. Like I said, it'd be $1.99 or $2.99. Depends on how I feel about you after the live. All right. So their favorite ploys include, number 1, removing the Godhead from a family. Talking about anti-marriage spirits. At first is to remove the Godhead. That means to remove God in totality from a family, so that your family don't go to church, or they don't have a relationship with the Most High God, that your family either becomes anti-Christ, anti-Christian, your family is following a different religion, or your family really calls on the name of God, but they really don't serve him. God said, many draw nigh me with their mouths, but their hearts are far from me. They're out living life the way they want to live life because they never gave it to God. I mean, this is my life, right? That's the problem. It's not supposed to be yours. It's supposed to be his. You surrender your life to him. You surrender your life to him. That's your problem. And your life is still yours. Number 2, removing the head, parentheses, authority, from a man so he can't become an effective covering. Removing the head, authority, from a man, this is an anti-marriage spirit, is to make sure that your son, right, to remove the authority from him, remove the security, the identity, the authority from him, so that 1, he either does not want to get married, can't get married, he can't be effective covering. And he does that by removing the father figure or removing any male figures, removing any sense of identity from him. And that way, by the time he gets married, catch this. I'm sorry to say this. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna say it with my chest. By the time he gets older, he's relatively feminine. He may identify as straight, but he's still a feminine. He's feminine because he's never seen a masculine head. Now, that doesn't mean that he moves like this all the time. Not all effeminate men are like this. Effeminate is saying pay 50-50 on the bills. That's a feminism. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm not. I'm really not. And feminism is placing the bulk or the weight on a woman that you are supposed to carry as a man. Because you were so busy in your childhood being surrounded by strong women, not realizing that the only reason that they're strong is because there's no male figure in the bloodline that's carrying the strength. And so you end up taking the same mentality as a female, and you start casting the strength or casting the hard things onto the female. So you have an identity crisis where you feel like women and men are equal in strength. So you start giving a lot of the responsibility to women. Then when you get religion involved, now you think that the religion say you the head of the house, so I get to come in and I can get to say I can be masculine, but I still put the weight of the spiritual side. Like my wife's stronger than me spiritually. I put the weight of working on my wife. I put all of the weights on her, and then get mad at her for being strong. Get mad at her for being strong. It's to remove the authority. That's to come against the child's identity from their childhood. And so that guy, that little boy, he may grow up straight, but still he has a misconception of what it feels like or what it means to be a man. A misunderstanding of what it means to cover a woman. So he thinks of it equal. Well, I'm gonna open the door for her. You can open the door for me too. She got hands. She can open the door. Come help me carry this couch in the house. Or get into an argument and he uses his strength, his male strength. He puts too much strength on a woman. Now I realize the Bible says live with her as the weaker vessel. He doesn't know that. Instead, he puts so much weight on her. That's the type of man that will call a woman a B. An effeminate man will refer to a woman as a B. A man that's not effeminate will not use that type of language. All right, number 3. Removing a voice from a woman so she can't be an effective wife. These are anti-marriage spirits. I'm telling you the track. I'm telling you the inner scoop. I'm telling you the inside. I'm telling you how they move. Remove the voice from the woman. A woman doesn't help me. One of the things about being in a lower place, the husband is the head, about being in a lower place is that I can see what he can't see. I'm short. I remember working at Walmart. And I worked there when I was younger, from 17 to 24 years old. And I remember one of the things that I had an advantage because I'm short was that people didn't see me coming. Well, I worked in the clothing area. I worked in the lingerie section. I worked over at Answer the Phone in the soft line section. I also worked in the women's department. I caught plenty of thieves. Now, I didn't arrest no thieves. I went into all that kind of stuff, but I walked up on them. They didn't see me because the racks were my height or taller than me. Most of the racks were taller than me. Right? So then when I come around that corner, I remember the girls, I remember coming around the corners when women were stealing. They froze. I'm looking at them. They looking at me. I'm looking at them and they start joking. Oh, yeah, you gotta pick this stuff up. You're tearing this stuff up. And I walked and I called security. I'm at an advantage where other people can't see. Every height has a vantage. Right? Every height. That's the reason why. The husband is the head. The wife still has a vantage. I can still see the stuff coming in the low places where he's looking at the high places. Removing a voice. So an anti-marriage spirit, one, is going to muzzle her from her father, from her mother, from her community, from her church, religion, or from the man that she's dating. If you say something, I'm going to argue at you. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to use your weakness against you as a woman. I'm going to make you question your discernment. I'm going to shut you up with yelling. That's why some of y'all had argumentative families. I'm going to shut you up by raising my voice. No. That disables you from being a helpmeet. I'm going to shut, I did a health communication course and I had to tell people. I've had to teach people, like people I've walked close with, right? And I had to say, hey, stop that. Because we can be talking and we laughing and what have you. And they be like, yeah, and it's okay sometimes when you're joking around. But when it's a pattern, that came from your household. You need to stop that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's control. Don't do that. You don't get to dominate the conversation. There are 5 people at this table. Let everybody talk. Your voice is not more important than everybody else's at this table. You got to learn self-control. But the enemy, what he likes to do to make sure that a woman is ineffective as a wife is to remove her voice while she is not married. To remove her voice, to have a jealous-hearted mother, or to have an absent father, or to have people in the household that will punish her for saying things, or people that yell over her. That is a thing. It is to take away the voice, because we cry aloud and we spare not. So if I'm married, I can see something my husband can't see, and I can say, hey, babe, I don't like that girl. Why? I feel something about her, like she doesn't feel authentic at all. The way that I saw her looking at you, and I saw it, I feel some type of way. Guaranteed. And I'm so confident of this. Guaranteed. If that was the case, if I had the right husband and he listened, he said, okay, babe, we're going to pray about it. I trust you. Give it a few months or a few years, maybe even a few weeks. We're going to find out something about that girl. He'll be like, my wife doesn't deserve. But if I marry the wrong man, now there you go controlling again. Ain't nothing wrong with that girl. Now you over here just trying to be insecure. No. And then the girl end up doing, or the devil end up doing through that girl what I saw. And then by the time it does it, I can't say nothing. Because if I say I told you so, then that's going to start a fight. If I don't say nothing, then we got to just play make-believe that you just muzzled me. That's right. Removing the voice. And the devil doesn't just do that with women, he does it with men as well. But it's to silence you. This is why you got to get yourself in an atmosphere. Everybody that's ever had your voice removed, you got to get into the health communication course. You got to get yourself in the atmospheres where you're allowed to speak. And you got to become comfortable. That's why some of y'all are afraid of confrontation. You have a fear of confrontation because you were sitting and you were raised by Leviathan. You were raised by the spirit of Leviathan, so you can't speak. So anytime you speak, your words are taken out of context. Anytime you speak, somebody spoke over you. So when it comes down to confrontation, you would just much rather not have it, which means that Leviathan and Jezebel has taught you to tolerate them. Y'all heard what I just said? Leviathan and Jezebel has taught you to tolerate them. So when people come into your life and they doing crazy stuff, you can't say that. You just let them. You may talk to your friends about it. You talk to other people about, I don't like that. She be doing this to me. She be doing that to me. No, that ain't how you do it. You talk to the source. Hey, stop. Let me tell you something. This is something that you have a tendency to do. Here go the solution. Please don't do that. All right, let's move on. We're talking about what anti-marriage spirits do to make sure that you don't get married. Number 4, perverting the idea or respective covenant. Perverting the idea or respective covenant. So your auntie walking around sleeping with married men, or maybe it was your mom, or maybe it's your dad. So what it does is, whenever you have a love and a reverence for God, you revere the things that he esteems, right? The things that he's placed. We know that marriage is an institution created by God. So you look at marriage with fear and trembling, like, I can't do that. That's somebody's husband. I ain't finna mess with nobody's husband. I don't want that judgment to hit my house, all of that kind of stuff. But the enemy has successfully desensitized so many Christians to the concept of marriage that how many times have I've talked to, for example, especially when I did one-on-one sessions, Christian women, sometimes women that were in positions of authority, that, they going to church and all this other stuff, and it's on the phone with somebody's husband. Oh, we're not dating, but he You know, he tells me a lot about his wife. You the side chick. You ain't slept with him yet, but emotionally, you're the side chick. And I said, well, why is he telling you? Yeah, I mean, he was telling me that, you know, she doesn't listen to him. He was telling me this. So when y'all talk, what percent of the time, he tells me a lot about her. He's conditioning you to sleep with you, baby. Sorry. And if I can get in your face, all right, if I can get in your face and I can call you out, right? Because nobody called you out. Everybody be playing like you don't know what you're doing. You actually do know what you're doing. You like that man, but you play pretentious games and say, no, 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 no. I'm just a assistant price. I just be telling him about her roses. And I told him to do this for her. And I told him to do that for her. And, you know, I really just, no, baby. Realistically speaking, you've emotionally plugged yourself into that. You know he's having an emotional affair with you, and you're trying to make believe, even lie to yourself that you're trying to push them back together. But realistically speaking, what you're doing is you're waiting for your opportunity because you think you next in line. In case it don't work, because he seems like a good enough man. He seems like a good man. In case it don't work. In case. I like to call stuff out because all that's going to happen is you're going to play this little game right here. All right. I've had enough friends to see this over the life. I've been unsaved before, right, as an adult. And I know how that game plays, right? Y'all go somewhere one day, maybe it's the park and what have you, and you like, you should just talk to her. You should just do this. I don't mind a woman telling and encouraging a man if he's not married to somebody and they're not, and the other person is probably out the picture. But when they're in a relationship, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. I think you should, yeah, no, you should do this. You should do that. And race, the only thing you're setting the stage up, which is why you allow him to be physically present with you, because you're aware of what he's trying to do. You're already aware that he's trying to get to you. You're just trying to play make-believe. You know he's trying to get to you. One thing I like, I don't like it when we play stupid or pretend to be stupid. Like, I didn't expect him to kiss me, Sister Tiffany. Stop it. Sorry, that was me trying to hit you with my braids. If you were right here in my face, I would stop it. You knew good and well that man was gonna put his lips on you. You knew good and well that man was doing all of that to set the stage for y'all. Y'all get quiet on me. It's okay. You know good and well. That's why you went to that restaurant with him. That's why you went to the park with him. And you were like, so it was good. It was good hanging out with you and all of that kind of stuff. And then you're like, where are my keys? And then next thing you know, you turn your head, he in your face. What are you doing? Did he lean in for a kiss? And y'all kiss. And then you want to play this little game because you watch too much TV. Troy, what are you doing? Then he leaned in for a kiss again. You kiss, and you're like, no, this can't happen. You're married. And then you kiss again. Then you run and get in your car and cry and drive all the way home. God. And then while the whole time you driving home, you imagining your movie that's gonna come out. You're like, God, this can't happen. This can't happen. Narcissism. You knew you were gonna do that. And then you were like, I can't start developing feelings for him. I went back around him, Sister Tiffany, because I've done counseling sessions with women. I thought, I don't know. I went back and I was like, okay, I called him up on the phone after he kissed me. And I was like, okay, meet me at my apartment. This is my address. And we got to talk about what happened. And the whole time I'm like, you told him to come to your apartment. Y'all in a public place and y'all kissed. And you told him, yeah, because I didn't want to be in public. I didn't want nobody to see or anything. I really wanted to set this record straight. So he came over. It's about 10:30 that night, right? And, he came over and I just told him, I was like, that can never happen again. You and I, who are brothers and sisters in Christ, that can never happen again, okay? That was the, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the next thing you know, what's the word y'all use nowadays? He crack you on your living room sofa. I feel so bad. God forgive me. Liar. Oh, oh, you honey Jezebel, you're a liar. You know what you are doing. Okay? You knew that he was going to sleep with you. Okay? You knew that he was going to get an arousal and you were going to play that game with him because you were setting the stage to be the hero. Okay? And you got cracked on the couch. And then you get clicked again because you call him over again and tell him once again, this cannot happen. This, why are you coming close to me? This can't. What do you do? You did it again. And I haven't seen my cycle for 2 months. What am I going to do? That blasted child. You told him? He's married. And I don't know what to do. Fake. Oscar goes to Leslie. You're amazing. Thank you for the cash app, beautiful. God bless you. I'll move on. You don't talk to somebody else's man. If I know you in a relationship with somebody, like y'all are active in a relationship, I ain't talking to you about your relationship. I got brothers in Christ who are married. They don't talk to me about their relationships. They talk to me about Jesus. Ministry. What they working on. If I want to work with them on this project and they wife cool with me, hear me. That's it. They ain't one of them that you'll call me and say. So my wife, right? I've been having trouble with her focusing. Like I be trying to talk to her. She be just staring at her phone and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, you gonna really do that in the middle of making love? Yeah, I thought you were just talking to her. Yeah. Well, no, they not doing that. Called boundaries. But that's you positioning yourself because you think that I'm gonna play this game and then I'll be the subtle side chick. And then when his divorce fails, he can't blame. Then we gonna all of a sudden pop out and we gonna be in a relationship. It's gonna work between him and me. Trust me, most of you in here, you're not moved by this because that's not your story. But there's some people in here that's their story, and they know it. All right, let's move on. Number 5, creating a system of a broken home by breaking the people in it. Creating a system of a broken home by breaking the people in it. That's what the enemy does. So a broken home is created by broken people. If you break the people within the house, and it only needs one level is a whole lump. It only needs one broken person in the house to break it. That's why I don't let people live with me, right? I don't let people live with me. It takes one broken person in the house to break it. It takes one person to shift your atmosphere to demonic, right? You got your presence, you got presence of God, you got peace in your house. It takes one person to come in, right? Camera, goodness gracious. It takes one person to come in that you like, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's wrong with you? Nothing. And then they walking around your house like that all the time. It takes one person. So the enemy, one of his goals is, if I can break one of the people in the house, I can break the house. A house divided can't stand. If I can break one of the people in the house, I can break the house. This is why you can't and should not, well, you can, but you should not marry a broken person. You should not marry a broken person, right? Because they're going to break the house. Your mentality, your delusion, your deception, because of what social media told you, and because of what maybe some preacher got up there who got a wife that's tolerating the foolishness that he been putting her through or that she been putting him through, they get up there and say, you're going to have to fight. Your delusion is that you can fix the person. No, People get fixed when they go to the mechanic on themselves. They are the engine that needs to be fixed. They got to go to the one up here. They got to sit up there and identify what's wrong with them. You can point it out, right? It can become a fight, but that person got to go before the Lord. If it's your kid and they're 18 years old, get them out the house. If they're your kid and they're under 18, you discipline that tail. Right? You put discipline in place, whether that's taking away something or what have you. There's no such thing in my presence, in my household, in my life, in my reality. There's no such thing as I got to take something off a person. It doesn't exist. It kind of bewilders me that some of y'all be like, what if? No, what if I had an 18-year-old son living in my house and he just wouldn't do right, he get out. Mom ain't got nowhere to go. You should have thought about that. Because being in my house and being a rebel it's not an option. Right? It's genuinely not an option. I think the problem that we have today is that y'all let people have options. Right? You have options when it comes down to your life and making decisions and stuff like that. But you don't have the option to be toxic and be a part of my life. That's not an option. That is genuinely not an option. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I get to govern self. And I get to sit back and say, that's illegal in my world. That's illegal in my life. And you're taking away something from me that is invaluable, that is peace. And where there's strife, there's every evil work. And I'm not going to have every evil work, because there's every evil work. There's every evil worker. There'll be demons in the presence. And I'm not about to have demons in my house tolerating you just because you decided that you want to be a rebel. You go be a rebel somewhere else. Go be a rebel in a shelter. Go be a rebel in your car. Go be a rebel. You don't get to be a rebel in my house. All right. Where were we? Creating a system of a broken home by breaking the people in it. Number 6, normalizing and creating cultures that celebrate immaturity while shining reality. Just going back to that, I could do a whole lesson on that, but honestly, I can say a lot of you in this room, that's where you get stuck at. Like, you can go so far in revelation with people, and then after that, they got to get stuck right there. It's like, to me, it kind of looks like walls, right? It looks like the end of a journey would be, it looks like the destination would be over here somewhere. Let's put DEST for destination, right? And we're heading to the destination I'm teaching you. And then there are walls, and you got to break down the walls. And then sometimes some people can only get right here because that's all they're willing to implement. And some people can go a little bit further because they'll tear that wall down because that's what they're willing to implement. But not everybody that comes in is going to make it all the way to the destination, because you have the thing that you're not willing to do in order to achieve that. See, that's the thing. The kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violence taken by force. I know I talk the language of a warrior, but the thing about it is I talk the language of a deliverer, and I've been delivered from a lot, and I've helped, by the grace of God, people to get delivered. But I know the need for boundaries. Boundaries are designed to protect you from bound people who are sent to bind you. And if your children can bind you, if your family can bind you, anybody that can bind you, if they can, they will. Same goes about seeking whom he may devour, meaning he can't devour everybody. And if there are some allowances and some allegiances that you allow in your house, that people can have, and you place a limitation on yourself instead of the person, then you authorize yourself being bullied, you authorize yourself being bound, and that's on you. And I can't take you past that point. That's right. Give 30 days. That's right. I can't take you past the point of your will. Once your wall comes up and you say, I can't, then that's where you stuck. That's where you stay. And you just tolerate it. All right. But for me, a lot of times I'm trying not to seem too hard with people, but realistically speaking, I just happen to be that person that if the wall presents itself, I'm breaking it down. It's coming down because I am not willing to be limited. If God called me to get to a destination, I'm not willing to be limited just to have a relationship with a person. Does that make sense? I'm not willing to be limited just because a person is bound by their own demons, and I'm supposed to stop and help them with their demons or whatever. I'll help you if you want help. If you say, hey, how do I get out of this? And you willing to listen, I'll help you, baby. I got your bag. But if you like, ain't nothing wrong with me, and then you bring that stuff into my life, it genuinely isn't an option. Genuinely, it's not an option. Then right then and there, I will draw a hard boundary in front of you, and I will go. In some cases, I'll distance myself, or I may go full no contact. Right? It's genuinely not an option. But that's how the blessings flow in my life, because I remove the things that come to dam the blessing. You know what a dam is, right? It's something the beaver put the dam in the river to keep it from flowing, right? You know what a dam is. You know what clogs up your toilets. I remove the thing that will clog the blessing in my life. I don't sit up there and tolerate the clog just because the clog came out of me, or I won't tolerate the clog because the clog is related to me. At the end of the day, if it's clogging up my life, I'm going to remove the clog, right? Normalizing and creating cultures that celebrate immaturity while shining reality. That is number 6. That is American culture. That is Western world culture. All right. That is American culture. Is that American culture, the American church is immature. Period, point blank. I don't care what nobody said. The American church, the average person in the American church is a babe in Christ. Our church is a goo goo gaga. No, mine. I'm this, I'm that. No, I follow such and such. I follow such and such. Leave me alone. No, that's not real. You're lying. He hit me. That's mine. The American church is full of grown babies. I'm sorry. Even a lot of your pastors are. Lisa, you're amazing. Thank you for the cash up, beautiful. God bless you. Not realizing that there's a height that you got to go to get to certain blessings. There's a height that you got to go to get to certain blessings. All right. There's a level of maturity. And because it's not normalized and you don't see it being demonstrated or patterned before you with a lot of your churches and a lot of your leaders, it has become normalized for you to remain a baby for the rest of your life. But Galatians 4:1 says, the heir, as long as he is a child, you are an heir of Christ. The heir, as long as he is a child, different nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. You will remain under tutors. You will remain under governors. You will remain under authority until the time you got to mature. As long as you're a child, you differ nothing from a servant. That's a slave, even though you're Lord of all. The thing that you're asking for, the thing that you want, you're Lord over it, is literally yours. You want $1 billion, is yours. Oh, I'll take religion off of that. You want $1 billion, it's yours. Your Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. You think $1 billion is a lot of money for God? The same faith it takes you to get a penny is the same faith it takes you to get $1 billion. All right, you want $1 billion, it's yours, but you need the faith for it. And God will never release it, right? He releases it according to your faith, because your faith reveals your maturity, because he knows that thing will kill you. If you don't have the maturity for it, some of y'all will be out here trying to get gold eyeballs. Talking about somebody can't see ever since we got these eyeballs. Immaturity. You'll be out here trying to start your own religion. I believe God is in everything, including this shea butter. So that's the reason why I worship it. And no, I don't worship my shea butter. I'm saying that's what you would do if God gave you the $1 billion that you wanted. He locks it in the chamber or the vault of faith, right? And faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. People will take themselves out. I'm telling you the truth. People do crazy stuff when they get. Sometimes the world taps into kingdom principles and they're still able to make heaven open, right? Because kingdom principles work regardless of whether you're saved or not. Sometimes the world is able to employ kingdom principles. And you know what it does? It eats them, because the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. It eats them. It'll tear their tail up. They go out there and win a lottery and get killed. That's why you shouldn't be out there chasing money and trying to chase wealth. You're supposed to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all the stuff will be added to you. Normalizing and creating cultures that celebrate immaturity while shunning reality. It's what the world does. It's what anti-marriage spirit does. It does this over community and over family. It normalizes immaturity. You end up with a mother that she's a child all the days of her life, a baby Christian. You end up with a daddy who is a baby Christian all the days of his life. You end up going to a church where the pastor is a baby Christian, the congregants are baby Christians, and that becomes your religion, is babiness. Everybody's a baby. God ain't sending no baby. God ain't trying to send no husband to a baby. He ain't trying to send a wife to a baby. You end up learning Christianese and being a baby, and then that prevents you from getting married. Moving on. Number 7, desensitizing people to sin, especially sexual sin. Desensitizing people to sin, especially sexual sin. This way, they lose the concept of intimacy and embrace performance-driven encounters. In other words, the enemy wants you to be having sex outside of marriage so you can learn all those different positions and you can do all that crazy stuff. So by the time you get married, you won't know nothing about intimacy. You won't even know the art of intimacy. You won't know how powerful intimacy is if done the way that God designed it. So consequently, you're constantly having sex. So now you go into comparison and competition mode where you're trying to outcompete, or you're trying to outperform the porn star that your husband keep watching. And now y'all sit up over, and now you don't want to have any type of intimacy or any type of sex with him because he doesn't understand how to get in that bed with you or spend time with you, and basically really just open up your heart, open up the chambers of your heart that you keep closed off, the most sacred parts of you. He don't know how to do that. And so consequently, everything that you do becomes performance driven. And so you end up with a marriage that has been driven by the porn industry. You end up with a marriage with a person that you really don't care to sleep with because that person don't know how to open the windows of heaven in your life. You know how many marriages get destroyed because you got 2 partners that have been freaked out before they got married? Oh, y'all looking at me. I went too fast. How many people that got freaked out before they got married? Straight freaked out, right? Sequina, thank you for the cash. God bless you, beautiful. And now they up in there. And one thing about that sacred moment, that sacred time, is that when you in a room with somebody you're married to, and y'all are doing the do, getting ready to do the do, you can sense heights and dimensions that you can go to with that person. You can sense it, which is why y'all flip each other around all over the place. Get up, go against the wall, flip over here, bend this, break this, bite this, because you sense dimensions, but you don't reach them. Because those dimensions are dimensions that God invites you to, that only can be unlocked through true intimacy. It's not unlocked through the changing of positions. It's not unlocked through maybe if I bang his head up against the wall 3 times until he starts feeling faint. It's not unlocked through maybe if I take this candle and I melt the wax and I pour it on his chest because I saw that on a movie. And I'm going to pour it on his chest and stuff like that, and it's going to burn him and what have you. Now he got 2nd-degree burns. It's not unlocked through maybe if I scare him, right? If I gouge out his eyes or pretend to gouge out his eyes, or maybe if we role play, maybe if we do all this stuff, maybe we're going to unlock. No. All that freaked out. One thing a person that's freaked out would never tell you is that freaked out people don't have the best sex at all. At all. They just got different experiences that they had, but they're not having, what's a kind word? They're not having heightened encounters that they can go and say that was the best encounter I ever had. They're having the standard routine big O that turned into a little O, all of that kind of stuff. All they're doing is switching positions. Intimacy is a whole different thing. That is something that is unlocked through intentionality. That is something that is unlocked through a person having a relationship with God, having a vulnerable heart, and having trust. Right. That is something that is unlocked through not playing games with each other. That's something that a lot of people never enter into. So they end up a lot of people end up getting freaked out before they get married. And they end up not understanding intimacy. Consequently, you have a lot of women that don't like to have sex with their husbands. Consequently. And I've ministered to people like that. A lot of women don't want to be touched by their husband because they got freaked out. The woman got freaked out, the husband got freaked out, the corn industry and freaked everybody out. And now they up in the house trying to figure out what they can use to enhance their sex life. What can we use? And so the sex industry keeps on making new gadgets for you to come up there and you can blow torch each other. You can, freeze each other, fossilize each other. You can box each other. You got all these different things, but it always ends in the same event, right? And it's not a heightened encounter. You just sense where you can go, but you don't have the license to get there unless you're intimate. And so consequently, if there's no intimacy when it comes down to marriage, then that one part of marriage that helps to bond you a little bit more, a whole lot more, becomes something that's not only perverted, but it becomes something that becomes undesirable. And it was never designed to be that way. Right? It was never designed to be that way. So it becomes something that the woman doesn't desire. The man, he desires it, but he's just trying to figure out what can I do next? Because, hopefully she like all this stuff I'm doing to her, but she don't. She don't, but she don't want to say nothing. She don't. I just let him climb on top of me, do his business till he finish. Or she just feel like I'm just gonna have to go and I'm gonna do all these different experiences with him. I'm gonna scream up and then hopefully, and I'm gonna scream loud and hopefully it'll make him finish fast. Y'all don't think I know what y'all doing? Because then that go to his head and then he think he doing something and then make him finish and finally he off me. Finally he off me. Good God, thank God. I thought that man was gonna be, I'm so glad he didn't fell out. That ain't how marriage is supposed to be. That came from the corn industry. That came from sleeping with multiple people before marriage. That came from the competition and the comparison culture that's in the world, where everybody's trying to outperform the last person. Your body wasn't designed for that. The body wasn't designed for fornication. But I'll spare you. I got an intimacy course, right? If you have anybody that's watching the replay want the link to the intimacy course, just post it in the comment section, and I will go and I will list the link to it, and you can register for the intimacy course. That's if you're married. Right, that ain't for single folks. It's for married folks. All right, number 8, creating cultures and traditions that encourage men and women to cleave to their families and not their spouses. I'm talking about anti-marriage spirits. Anti-marriage spirits like to create cultures and traditions that encourage men and women to cleave to their families. Blood is thicker than water. They say stuff like that. And you'll find that in a lot of cultures where there's a very big, there's either a lot of divorce or the men marry multiple women. A lot of parts of our Africa. Kill, thank you. God bless you, beautiful. You'll find that in a lot of parts of Africa, right? You'll find that in a lot of communities where they teach that, basically the wife becomes like the property of the family, right? Creating cultures and traditions that encourage men and women to cleave to their families and not their spouses. Yeah, of course, an intimacy course for those who are married and saying they have trouble in the bedroom and stuff like that. I did an intimacy course some time ago to teach people how to break that off of them. All right. Number 9, getting both men and women. Let me see what I wrote. Okay. Getting both men and women to cheapen the value of marriage by selling it as just another piece of paper. Getting both men and women to cheapen the value of marriage by seeing it as just another piece of paper. One of the things that will always open the door for divorce or anti-marriage is the belief that, it's just another piece of paper, which makes a person take a long time to marry you. They can go 4, 5, 6 years and not marry you because to them it's just another piece of paper. And a person who sees marriage like that does not have respect for marriage. So consequently, either you won't get married to them because they're going to always feel like that's a pressure and a burden that you're putting on them. And at the same time, they won't stay married because they don't see it as a big deal. The link, let me see. Do moderators, do y'all have it, the link to the intimacy course? I can see if I can pull it up, but it pulled me away from the live for a minute. I'll see if the moderators can pull it up, or we just have to wait till. I think I can pull it up. Let me see here. I don't know if they got this link. And I'll post a link to the whole school. The Art of Intimacy. Here they go. Oh, dang it. Click it. Get back here. Oh, I thought I had closed this out. I got it. I got it, Sister Danielle. Here we go, right here. There we go. Here it is. All right. Let's move on. Where were we? Let me find where it was here. Okay. Getting both men and women to cheapen the value of marriage by seeing it as just another piece of paper. Number 10, encouraging and normalizing survival mode. This way, people marry from a place of need and not a place of purpose. All right. Encouraging and normalizing survival mode. This way, people marry from a place of need and not a place of purpose. The average American person marries from a place of need, especially women. I can't say men don't do it as well, because I'm pretty sure that they do. But the average American woman, and a lot of times, marries from a place of need. She's attracted to the man, but he's not somebody she would have chosen had she been fully healed, fully delivered, and God dependent, where she could take care of her own bills and take care of her own life. He's not somebody, and this is why divorce is oftentimes filed by women, is because as you become more sufficient, right, self-sufficient or God sufficient, you get into a marriage and things start to work out. You start to maybe heal, mature, get delivered and stuff like that. You become able to take care of yourself. Then the person that you chose, you start to realize they're more of a liability. You would not have chosen them. See, a lot of times we choose liabilities when they have things that we don't have, when they present like lifestyles and when there's a benefit to a liability. Not all liabilities are liabilities in every dimension. Remember, I told you we're multifaceted creatures. So sometimes a person can be a blessing in one dimension, but a liability in another. But if you're not paying attention to that other dimension where they are a liability because you got a deficit over here, that man has a surplus over there, then you end up getting with him because you want the surplus. But then God turn around and heal you in that area, deliver you in that area, and bless you in that area. And so now you're rich in that area and you no longer need that guy in that area. Then it's going to change the way that you look at him, because now you're going to look at him from a place of, oh, okay, well, that's taken care of, and it wakes you up, it sobers you up. So now you're looking at him from a place of sobriety, but then now you're going to start seeing where he's a deficit. So maybe you tolerated the crazy baby mama for a while, but now you start realizing she's taking my peace, which is what causes people to end in divorce. I always say this: one of the cruelest things that God can do, it feels cruel, is to let you get married while you're drunk, and then let you wake up or sober up married. And what I mean by that is, when you're under the influence of the world, when you're under the influence of the needs, the things that you are lacking in your life, when you're under the influence of rejection, when you're under the influence of anything, God can allow you to get married or get into a relationship. He'll warn you, but that's why he told you to be sober-minded, because what takes away your sobriety is not just alcohol. What takes away your sobriety is what you watch on the television, who you affiliate yourself with. What takes away your sobriety is your laziness, your unwillingness to go out and do what God designed you to do, which creates lack in a certain area of your life. And wherever there's lack, there's going to be a demand, there's going to be a need. And so consequently, you won't have any sobriety in that area, especially if it's an area where like there's a necessity. So consequently, what ends up happening is, and I hope I'm making sense, but consequently, what ends up happening is you can marry somebody that presents well in a certain area. They look good on paper. They look good on paper. And then you get married to them, and God warned you not to marry them, but you get married to them, and the very thing that you like them for, God feels, okay, I'll make it make sense. When a guy came after me in 2015, right? I was under one of the worst attacks of my life. I've told this story before. I don't want to tell it again, but it is what it is. I got to make it make sense for the people that don't understand. But when a guy came after me in 2015, I was under one of the worst attacks of my life. Financially, I was in the pit. My car kept breaking down. I had just moved to Georgia. My mom got diagnosed with cancer again, and she was having to come to Georgia to go to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. But how to get her there, my car constantly acting up. Every time I got out the shop, something else would break on, like literally within a day or two. Literally. That's how the type of attack I was under, something else would break. That was totally unrelated to the first thing. Financially, my business had slowed down to a screeching halt. I had about $2,000 left to my name. Stressed, depressed, sad, anxious, didn't know what to do. And the enemy made sure he attacked me so bad in so many different areas. And I learned a warfare tactic of his. Y'all want to hear it? I learned a warfare tactic. I've told this story before. I learned a warfare tactic of his. This is how you get the wrong person in your life. Is to attack you and create a void, a deficit, and then send a false hero. To attack you, to create a void or deficit, a need in an area, and then to send what appears to be a false hero. Shirley, thank you. Bless you, beautiful. Somebody asked what's the cash app. Ladies, post a cash app for me again. But to send a false hero. What does that false hero look like? Somebody that seems to be the answer to the problem that you had. So what was the problems that I had? Check this. Financially, I had about $2,000 left to my name, and my bills came past that every month. My business slowed down for a darn screeching halt. My car started breaking down bad, and it kept doing it. Then my mother was diagnosed with cancer. I got her into the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, but she's gonna have to be traveling to Georgia to stay with me for once at a time, and so that she can get her treatment. All right. Those were the problems. So now all of a sudden, here comes a guy, and he's somebody from my past. Somebody say familiar spirit. Hold up, guys. Let me take care of this because I already see where this is going to go. Well, I should have had some water over here. I bought me a humidifier, but I think I should get it tomorrow. Give me a second. Let me get my wind back. I should have did something over here. Sorry. I felt that. But anywho, send a false hero. So here's what happened. I had all those attacks going on at one time. Now my mother's getting ready to come down, and I'm gonna have to be taking her from Conyers to, because I was living in Conyers at the time, to Newnan, Georgia, to the Cancer Treatment Center of America, which was 40-something minutes away. So I was gonna have to be taking her there, right? And the car that I had was breaking down. I'm gonna have to be taking care of her. Money not looking so good. Yes, I'm good. I've had this congestion. I've had what felt like a cold or flu-like symptoms for the last few days. So I had that happen. It happens sometimes anyhow, but that happens sometimes. And I kind of figured it was going to happen on here. And I kind of forgot to bring some water over here. And I forgot to bring me some paper towels over here. So yeah, we can wait. If it happens again, I will. If it happens again, I just have to let it pass. So I ended up while I was in the middle of that attack, here comes the enemy. I get a prophetic word, right? All of this stuff is a setup. I get a prophetic word about a husband wearing a doctor's coat or being a doctor, right? I get a prophetic word. I will if I start up again. But I get a prophetic word about that. So then this guy reaches out to me wearing a doctor's coat. Turns out to be somebody from my past. And I get on the phone with the guy, right? Yes, ma'am. I'm fine. I get on the phone with the guy. And when we get on the phone, because he reaches out to me on Facebook, when we get on the phone, at first I'm excited because he matches the prophetic word. But then after I talked to him the first time and listening to him, I realized that, hey, he wasn't sent by God, right? The first thing was I asked him, where was he in Christ? He said, I believe in the man upstairs. And I said, oh yeah, I'm not your wife. He was like, how are you going to say that? I said, I'm not your wife. Because to you, he's a man upstairs. Yes, ma'am. To you, right? It's like a relationship. He said, well, I'm not a religious person. So if you ask me if I go to church, if I'm in a religion, I'm not. And then he started talking about his job, his career. He felt like that's his ministry and all that other stuff. And right then and there, I already knew that ain't him. I don't like to gaslight myself because gaslighting makes you stay there longer than you have to. So it causes a delay. So in that, I sat back and I'm on the phone, disappointed because I'm like, dang, I remember him. And the thing that I remembered about him, and the enemy was reminding me about him, was that dude used to be crazy about me. Even though we had a not so good start, I ain't gonna go into the deep of that. That dude used to be crazy about me, right? And then, he's on the phone declaring his love and how I've loved you. It's 20 years later. But then he said my divorce should be final any day now. And I said, yo, who? My divorce should be final any day now. I said, oh no, I don't talk to nobody's husband. No, we already filed for divorce. It's still adultery. See, the enemy is the accuser of the brethren. The enemy always tries to get you into a sin because if you commit a sin, I need somebody to write in the comment section. I'll write it because I need you to understand what a sin is, right? We have our words here, but I want to make it make sense for you. A sin equals a crime. We call it a sin, right? But it's a crime. When you sin against heaven, when you sin against God, when you sin against somebody's marriage, you have committed a crime. Now, demons are the arresting officers of the spirit realm. All right? Demons are the arresting officers of the spirit realm. They tempt you to commit a crime, and if you do it, they can put you under arrest. Bang, bang, you're under arrest. So that's how you end up bound by demons. People ask, how do demons get in? You got arrested. I'm going to say that again. People ask how demons got in. You got arrested. You committed a crime. Whether that crime was unforgiveness, sexual sin, that crime was idolatry, you got arrested. That's why he tempts you into sin, is because the enemy wanted to put you under arrest. Okay? So I recognize I'm being tempted, right? I'm being tempted. It's a familiar spirit. I'm not gonna go into this negotiation again. So I say absolutely not, or what have you. I passed the test. Now, I passed the test. That story ends with that. But let me show you the point that I was making, right? The point that I was making was this. He appeared to be a solution to a problem or a set of problems that was present in my life, right? He was making good money, 6 figures, right? He was literally at that space 100% ready to get married. I had no doubt on it because I knew him from the past and he still had that same thing going for him, right? Ready to get married, talking about marriage. He made a comment about helping me out with bills. My money was funny. He's in the medical industry, right? Even though he wasn't in the same part of the industry that my mother, people in the medical industry know other medical professionals, right? Shirley, thank you for the cash up. God bless you, beautiful. He's in the medical industry. Every problem that I had, he was a false hero, like a solution. He could have presented himself as a solution, or that's how the enemy tried to present him as a solution. And I had to reject the solution because it didn't come from God. All right. I had to reject the solution because that solution did not come from God. So what the enemy does, for those of you who are under attack or you got some stuff going on in your life, sometimes it's the enemy setting the stage for a man or a woman to enter your life. Oh, yeah. Some of y'all, I'm talking about, I hear eyes opening, right? I hear the peeling, the boogers falling off your eyes. Sometimes the attack is preparation for the enemy to send somebody into your life that's not supposed to be there. Don't mean that people bad, it just means that they're bound. I wouldn't say the guy was bad, I would say he was bound. Right? Sometimes, and some of y'all, you just like, oh my gosh, yes, you. This is why I see brothers in Christ post up this all the time, and this will let me know that they probably got the wrong wife. And I'm gonna say this is 100% of the time, but when I see a man post up something that sounds like, I met you in my darkest hour. You came when I was just about ready to give up. The darkness began to swallow me. And as the waves of depression began to encompass me, here you came, a light out of nowhere, just beaming through the darkness. You rescued me. I'm like, uh-oh. In most cases, you see something like that. That man is a narcissist. He's narcissistic, and he likely has a narcissistic partner. God don't send people to rescue you. Christ does that. God sends people to walk with you. Now, is there a rescue missions that happen? Yes. When you get married, you're going to rescue your spouse a lot, and they're going to rescue you a lot, right? While you dating them, you're going to rescue them. Sometimes rescue, but the rescue don't look like you pulling somebody up. The rescue look like you pointing something out. Pop, pop, pop. I be telling the truth. I can't. Can I look you in the eyes? No. He's asleep. I be telling the truth. The rescue don't look like me yanking a man out of the sin that he's in love with. That ain't what it looked like. It looked like me pointing it out. Hey, you got a real bad attitude. You got some childhood wounds that you may want to consider dealing with. And I think you should do this. That's only my job is not to get a big burly grown man and put him on my back. All right? That's not the job. Where were we? My daddy just text me. Don't y'all tell him? Let's see. Hey, dang it. My dad sends me 10-minute audio messages. I sent him a slap on the tail yesterday. He sent me a message and he playing the victim again. Don't tell him I told you. And I sent him a slap on the tail that basically the you ain't a victim, you're a reaper type thing. Love you, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Stop all that. Not stuff about my childhood, but just stuff in his life now. So I'm just laughing. Dad, if you're watching, I love you. Because he didn't respond or what have you. And I said, he's gonna respond in a year or two. Getting both men and women to cheapen the value of marriage by seeing it as just another piece of paper. Encouraging and normalizing survival mode. This way people marry from a place of need and not a place of purpose. That was where we were. You marry from a place of need and not a place of purpose. That's what an anti-marriage spirit will do, is encourage you to marry somebody because you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or marry somebody because you shame, because you got dumped and you got hurt and you want to go, you want to show out and you want to, you want to pull up because the person that dumped you, they pulling up with somebody. So now you want to pull up with somebody. The enemy encourages, or anti-marriage spirits encourages behavior that ensures that you go through a divorce. What have you? One of the things that I said that and I talked about that story with that guy that tried to come, and I never forget when I passed that test, the Lord spoke to me. See, a lot of times when you pass the test, that's when God speaks. And when I passed the test, God said to me, he said, you were looking at, the temptation. He said, you were looking at the fact that he was making 6 figures. What was going to happen when I blessed you with 7? And I said, oh. And I came to I was like, I don't even know if I would want him. And that's when I realized, I was like, dang, that's survival mode. That's survival mode. And I never want to marry somebody based off of that, right? And that's why you go and you heal and you get delivered and you seek first the kingdom of God, let God add everything else to you, and you make your own money, right? That God blessed you with. That way you don't marry from a place of need. You good? Ain't you adorable? Hey, baby. They said you're a beautiful dog. Come here. His little habit, his little pattern, he's going to come out of here, do the shake right there, stay there, stare at me for a second, and go back in the counter. Oh, no. He's going to get on my couch and lay down in my spot. All right, let's get back on the road with revelation. Number 11. Yeah, I be talking about that. It's funny when he reached out to me, he talking about these Jezebels out here. I said, Dad, Jezebel won't get you if you ain't Ahab. At the end of the day, you ain't no victim. You go out here, put yourself in these predicaments. Hey, you can't call me with that. I'm not gonna be the one. I ain't the best one. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I get you free if you want to be free, but we ain't gonna do the whole victim thing. See, victimhood make you talk about people. But growing up and maturity makes you talk to people. All right, makes you talk to the problem, and you the problem, right? Yeah, he went laid in my spot. He just want to take it before I get over there. Number 11, establishing and popularizing the boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic. Right? This is anti-marriage spirits. That's what's behind the boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic. Establishing and popularizing the boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic, whereas several people get a turn with you. So you'll be super soul tied by the time you attempt to get serious about someone. You heard what I said. The enemy tries to make sure while you're single, right? This is anti-marriage spirit to make sure that several people get a turn with you. I get quiet so people can. I get quiet so people can let stuff settle in for a second. When you see me get quiet, just so I can settle in a little bit. All right. I don't like my lips to be too shiny. Y'all heard what I said. I'll read it again. Establishing and popularizing a boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic, whereas several people get a turn with you, so you'll be super soul tied by the time you attempt to get serious about somebody. It's a daddy party. The enemy wants you to sit up here and be this man's girlfriend and that man's girlfriend and that woman's boyfriend and you get all these terms. And what that does is, one, it opens the door for the spirit of rejection. It desensitizes you all the more to sensitivity. It breaks your ability to truly cleave to a spouse. It perverts you sexually. It damages you, so it makes it very hard. So by the time you get married, you become difficult for somebody to deal with because, or even to see them as your spouse, because it's just another dude up there. But this dude put a ring on it. That it changed. Or he looks at you as just another woman. You're the woman that married him. And that type of man will see you as an option, as an alternative. He will never fight to the greatest of his might to cover his marriage, to protect his wife, or to protect his family. Because in the back of his mind, there are other women out there. If you don't want me, if you don't appreciate me, there are other women out there that want me. He is a very good dog. I thank God for him. Really. That's my baby. In the back of his mind, if you don't want me, because when I go to work, there be some women on my job, they always calling me, they work boyfriend, and everybody want me and all this other stuff. In it, he doesn't know the difference between a wife and a woman. So consequently, what ends up happening is he doesn't put forth as much of a heart investment or an effort into marriage or even getting married because he has options. When a man realizes that I found a wife, which means that a wife is like a lottery ticket, right? A winning lottery ticket. They're very rare. Only a husband can find her. And when a husband finds a wife, he recognizes that this is genuinely authentic. I found one in a million. This right here ain't something you run into every day. He recognizes that, Oh, I better pull this one off the shelf. When a boyfriend comes in contact with a woman that is a wife, God does not reveal to him that she's a wife, because God doesn't want him to marry her, because his mindset is not that of a husband. God doesn't reveal to him because he doesn't have the heart of a husband. So he will hide you when you are a wife from a man that's a boyfriend, or from a man that is not fully in him. And the same is true. If a man is truly a husband, he found God and he loved the Lord, he come in contact with a girlfriend, God will hide him from that girlfriend, which means that if he talks to a woman, she won't see his worth. She won't see his value. She'll see him. She'll see his face. She'll hear his words, but she won't see that, hey, this is a husband. So consequently, in her mind, because she's a girlfriend, there are plenty of other dudes out there that's trying to talk to me. There are plenty of other dudes out there that's interested in me. And so she will disregard him. God does that intentionally so that he can stay hidden until he comes in contact with a wife. When he comes in contact with a wife, then God begins to do what God does, which is to reveal. All right? To reveal. That means that, and I need every lady to hear me when I say this. When you come in contact with a man that's not husband material, I don't care if he's in church, I don't care if he has a church title, and he's not a husband, you have to stop trying to reveal yourself to him. Whose daughter am I shaking? You got to stop trying to prove that you're a wife. Stop trying to prove that you're a good woman. Stop trying to show him that you can cook and that you're faithful and that no, you ain't got to do all that. Because if he's a husband, God will reveal him. God will reveal to him. God will talk to him. God will deal with his heart. God will reveal. If he's a husband and God wants him to be your husband, God will reveal. But if he's not a husband, he won't be able to see it, but you will see his potential to be a husband. And consequently, you'll be revealing a lot too much, including your thighs, to him in an attempt to get him to choose you when God's trying to get him to not choose you. Right. Stop cooking those home cooked meals. Stop telling him all this deep revelatory stuff about him, because yes, you can impress him. And that ain't the thing. Stop trying to impress the wrong man. Stop it before you mess around and succeed. Your job is not to impress him. Your job is to just pray, talk, discern, pray, talk, discern, and get up out of there quick, fast, and hurry if it ain't the one. And you say, well, how do you know? You will know them by their fruit. At the same time, there's this thing called revelation for those who are really in Christ. God will reveal to him. God will begin to speak to him, and God will deal to him. Don't you touch her. Don't you do this. God will begin to tell him what to do if you are a wife and he a husband. And it's foreign, and it can sound something kind of weird for people who's never had that experience, because you end up sitting up here like, well, I was watching this woman of God, Sister Tiffany, and she was sitting on the couch with her husband, and they were talking about, did God reveal? No, he didn't reveal. He never told me you were my husband. He didn't reveal. Oh, no, it wasn't like that. They made a choice. God didn't reveal them. They made a choice. All right. And there's nothing wrong with their marriage. God may approve their marriage. It could be God's permissive will. Right. But if God didn't reveal them, they will typically have a story of hardship that they had to overcome because they didn't see none of that coming. Because they cut God out of it to an extent because they were physically attracted to each other and they were Christian. And if I never told you anything, I would tell you to stop getting married to people just because they're Christian. Yes, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You're a believer, you marry a believer. But don't think that every Christian is on the same level of maturity as you, or is willing to go the length that you ought to go for your God. Some people have peaked in their infancy, and they don't want to go no further. They okay. All right. Moving on. Establishing and popularizing the boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic where several people get tired with you, so you'll be super soul tired by the time you attempt to get serious about someone. Number 12, wounding souls, so they become fearful of marriage and commitment. This cultivates or sets the stage for generalization of objectification. Wounding souls, so they'll become fearful of marriage and commitment. This cultivates and sets the stage for generalization of objectification. Remember, I told you when it comes down to a relationship, generalization is the first level of trauma. Is when you start saying these men or men start saying those women. That generalization, that's lazy discernment. That is a sign that the person is wounded. So if a person is wounded, a lot of times what they do is they already draft up a conclusion before getting to know you, right? Which is going to set the stage because now you got Leviathan all up in the mix and something like that. Generalization is what prejudice people do. When a person sees a black person or a white person or what have you, and they already generalize. They already said, "Oh, you're a black person, you're probably going to steal something." You say, "Oh, you're a white person, you're probably racist," or what have you. It robs you of your ability to show them your individuality as a person. They don't get to know you intimately because they know your kind, right? And so for a man that deals with generalization, your kind is the fact that you're a woman. For a woman that deals with generalization, your kind is the fact that you're a man. And so consequently, she's already developed a conclusion as it relates to men, and that is that men are dogs and men cheat. And so from that conclusion, she will still date and give you a chance. But her conclusion of the matter, every time y'all have problems, you cheating. Every time things start, see you just a man, that's all y'all men do, or what have you. In other words, she's already set the stage for the relationship to fail because she drew a conclusion. Anytime you come in contact with a person, like if you come in contact with a person and that person tells you, you know what? No, I think, let's say if you're talking to a dude and he says, nah, you talking about you abstinent, I don't believe all that. You're like, no, I've been abstinent, for these many years. I don't believe all that. I believe you getting cracked. You got cracked last week. I believe I called you the other night. I believe you were getting cracked when I called you. You were getting your back blown out then. And you over the phone, you're like, no, I'm not. And he keep accusing you. What are you gonna do? You're going to get rid of him, right? You're going to get him off your phone because you know something is wrong with him. You know something is wrong with him. Why? Because he drafted a conclusion. And when people draft a conclusion about you, they treat you based on the conclusion, right? So here it is. You're an integral woman that has been practicing abstinence and you love the Lord. But this man has had so many bad experiences, starting with his mom and starting with the women in his family, or what have you. He's had so many bad encounters with women that he's already concluded that all women are sexually active and promiscuous and not good and all this. He's drafted that conclusion. So because he has drafted that conclusion, he constantly keeps treating you based on that. You have nice moments with him, kind moments with him, you have fun moments with him, but ultimately all of your arguments, I don't know why my camera's doing what it's doing, but ultimately all of your arguments start going to that space of him accusing you. Why? He drew a conclusion. That's all accusation is. In many cases, it's a conclusion that was already drafted in the heart of the person. So consequently, it becomes hard to keep up with the person or to stay married to the person because they've already decided what you've done, even when you haven't done it. All right. So wounded souls, so they become fearful of marriage and commitment. This cultivates to set the stage for generalization and objectification is the heart of a serial killer. That's when a person is so deeply wounded that they not only generalize, but then they come to the conclusion that, let's say, all women are horrible, but I still need you. So that person becomes wounded and hurtful and hateful towards women. So consequently, he drafted the conclusion, I still want somebody to cook. I want somebody to have sex with. I want somebody to, take care of me. I want somebody to do all that. But all y'all ain't no good. And objectification, the person comes in with the heart of a serial killer, meaning that person has an inability, which is what you call the narcissist, right? They come in with the mindset that your job is just to do what I say do. You gonna cheat anyhow. You nasty. You got an attitude. You gonna want to try to control me. You this, you all that stuff. But I still want you to cook, and I still want to get that tail of yours. But I don't think you're a good person. That's objectification. Objectification is that person is already drafted in their heart that you are a horrible human being. They've already decided in their mind that you are a wicked person. And consequently, because they've decided in their mind that you are a wicked person, that person treats you as such. All right. That person treats you as such. So consequently, that person they'll pursue marriage. They'll buy you gifts. They'll take you out. But then you'll notice that there are certain things that they're going to do. For example, they will not want to give you a whole lot of, like, put a lot of effort into you. They're not going to want to do a lot of nice things for you because they've already drafted the conclusion that you're a horrible person. But they also decided that they still need the benefit of sleeping with you. They still need the benefit of having somebody to cook and clean their house. They still need the benefit of, at least showing up, maybe coming to church without having a bride or having a woman. It's not making them look good. That's objectification. Objectification is there is no love there. You are nothing but an object. You are a means to an end. That's it and that's all. Once they climb into bed with you and they do what they got to do, that was your job. They want nothing to do with you. They don't want a spoon. They don't want a hug. They don't want none of that. After they've done it, your job, when you wake up in the morning, your job is to get and cook and clean. Right? Your job is to cook and clean. All that talking between when you trying to talk about problems and you trying to talk about your feelings and you trying to talk about ideas, irrelevant, because you have no voice, you have no relevance, you have no importance. That wasn't your job. I'm just trying to explain to you why some people treated you the way they treated you. It's because when you deal with somebody who has been wounded to that level, that's where they become a narcissist. It's because at this time, you really don't have any value. How many of you get revelation? At this point, you really don't have any value. Your only job is to help them to acquire whatever it is that they desire to acquire. Maybe that's 2-income household because they're tired of trying to figure out how to pay bills by themselves. Or maybe you're the person that they want to pay the bills. They tired of waking up and being horny, tired of clapping themselves to sleep. They're tired of not having somebody to talk to. That's it. Right. And even if you are, then you're not there for the long run. But even if you are, the understanding when you're dealing with a narcissist to get you to understand that I don't care nothing about all that stuff you're talking about. Now, all this feeling stuff, emotional stuff, you get on my nerves with that because I'm not looking for the responsibility aspect of you. I'm only looking for the benefits. I want the benefits, not the responsibility. I want the benefits. I want to have all the good things as it relates to you. I don't want all that feeling, talking, love, and I'm supposed to do what? I'm supposed to do what? Care about your feelings? Ew. That's objectification. They don't have the ability to love. All they see is an object. You are an object. It is the same that they found with serial killers. Serial killers, they have to turn off their emotional aspect, the ability to love people, whereas they see a person as an object. That's it. Study serial killers, right? They see a person as an object, a means to an end, right? So a man who had an abusive mother may look, and let's say his mother was a streetwalker. He looks and he sees streetwalkers on the street. They have no identity. That's mama, or that's the monster that hurt me. They have no identity. So for him, when he takes her life, he doesn't have a conscience about it. He's able to be, a psychopath because he has no conscience about it because that part of his brain is turned off. That part of his brain is turned off. And what I might do, guys, I'm thinking about doing this. I might do a part 1 and a part 2 to this so that this doesn't end up being long. So if I do a part 2 to this, I'll likely come back on I'll say tomorrow. If it's not storming, it's supposed to storm here, but I'm rebuking that storm in the name of Jesus. But I'll likely come back or what have you. Yes, ma'am. You go to bed. I'll likely come back and do a part 2. So I don't want to hold you guys up in here. I don't want it to turn into a 4-hour live. All right, let's move on. Number 13. Perverting the seek, whereas people seek to satisfy themselves first before seeking God. This is an anti-marriage spirit. All right. Right. Perverting the seek. All right. So we're supposed to seek God. A man's supposed to pursue a wife, but he's supposed to seek God. You seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. He's supposed to seek God. Well, the enemy, what he does, and the woman's supposed to seek God as well. An anti-marriage spirit increases your seek for natural things of this world, for relationships. An anti-marriage spirit will distract you and take your spirit away take your attention away from God. All right, take your attention away from God so that you don't seek God. And that way, if you're not seeking God, you are guaranteed to either go through a divorce or you're guaranteed to either not get married, or if you do get married, your marriage won't last because God was never first, and God overturns the table of idols. Anytime there's an idol, when there's a dagon and that God is going to overturn it, meaning that God is going to break it. This is why a lot of times your heart has to be broken, because you have idols in your heart. All right. And God draws nigh to brokenhearted, because God is trying to get you to choose him. That is the reason why the enemy comes after the brokenhearted as well, is because whenever your heart is broken, you are in a place where you get to make a decision all over again. Right. Wounding souls so they become fearful of marriage and commitment. No, 13 was perverting the seek. The enemy perverts your seek. A lot of you right now, you're not seeking God. Right? If I was to ask you, the Bible tells you, and the Bible tries to get you to understand like where your heart is, because God said, many draw nigh me with their mouths, but their hearts are far from me. One of the ways you find out where your heart is the Bible says, wherever your treasures are, that's where your heart will be also. So you got to pay attention to the direction of your treasure, right? Well, the things that you treasure, that includes your money, your time, and the things that are intimate to you. Where are they? Real quick, stop and think. Where are your treasures? Stop and think. Where are your treasures? And what you'll find for the average woman, that your treasure is you swallow your seed. Your treasure is you like to buy wigs and everything to enhance yourself because you are investing in potentially being chosen. Your treasure is not in the kingdom. Wherever your treasure is, your heart will be also. So you say, how do I take the treasure and put it into the kingdom? How do I? Because I know some of you would say, no, I just be trying to look good. I like to look good. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? I know that's just culture. We want to look good. Thank you. We want to look good. But realistically speaking, if you were to be honest with yourself, many of you do a lot of that stuff because you're trying to be chosen. You just won't say the truth. You've been taught to lie to yourself and then to talk a lot to the world. You just won't say the truth. You do a lot of that stuff because you're trying to be chosen. You do a lot of that stuff because you're trying to be chosen. Realistically speaking, let's just tell the truth. You're trying. If I try this wig out, you become different characters on different days trying to see which one to get picked. Sorry. You become different characters. I'll be the line. You'll be different characters on different days trying to get picked. That's why you got a short wig, a long wig, a blonde wig, a black wig, a red wig, brown contacts, gray contacts. You got all these different, you're trying on which one of these characters will be picked. Which one of these characters, when I wear my my shoulder length red wig and my chestnut brown contacts. And I take my brow pencil and I use the dark maroon. And I make sure that I wear maybe because I want to tone it down, a nude lipstick, right? And I put on some like earth tone colors and add a little bit of red to it. When I go to church like that, does the guys or some of the specific guys, do I get their attention, right? Am I getting more attention? Oh, oh, I see him. Hey, Jason. What's up? Whatever. I do not look like no look Kim. Whatever. And why are you talking about look Kim? You supposed to be. Uh-huh. I heard about y'all minstrels. Whatever. What's up? Okay, I got some attention from Fred. All right, we'll call him Jason. Fred, Jason, whatever. Jason, Freddie, Jason. All right, we'll just call him Jason. I got some attention with a red wig. All right, okay, cool. I'm gonna do the blonde one next weekend with the crinkles. I'm gonna do the honey blonde contact lenses. I hope they don't be too much. And I'm gonna do, dark brown makeup. I mean, the dark brown brows and stuff like that. And then try to add a little bit of pink. I'm gonna pink it out, right? I'm gonna pink it out. I'm gonna see, does he like me better blonde? Then I come to church. Hey, Jason. Whatever. He didn't even hardly speak to me. I don't guess he liked the blonde that much. He really didn't speak to that. He spoke or what have you, but he didn't really speak to me like real deep. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna lesson up on the blonde. Then I come back the next Sunday. I'm coming all natural, baby. Straight black hair. Right? Just like I came fresh out of the womb. Black hair, my dark brown eyes, not natural makeup. And then I'm gonna do me a nude face. All right. Look like, there's no makeup look. I'm gonna see if he like me like that. So now he over there talking to me. He talking, but it just kind of feel like he talking, but I can't tell, like it's kind of monotone. He's saying this, he's saying that, or what have you. But I like how he treated me when I wore red. I like it. I like it. The way he treated me when I wore red, it was so much fun. So now I'm gonna go. I'm doing the red wig next week. I got outfits for it too. Y'all can't wait. I'm gonna do the red wig. I'll put that. It's an outfit that is kind of like a green, because that green and that red set it off. You kind of be in that. What do you got? That bunny. What is that bunny with the sexy woman? Is giving those type of vibes, right? I'm gonna come up in there and I got the makeup for it. It's gonna be like a natural look, but I'm gonna have it kind of like red lipstick. That's kind of that's kind of sheer, but it ain't too. Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it. I'm gonna see how you gonna treat me then. See, I'm putting it on blast. Ain't it? That's why y'all laughing, because y'all know I'm putting it on blast. I tell you how I take it out the dark, right? I'm gonna see how Jason treats me then. Jessica Rabbit, thank you. So now I'm gonna come up in there next Sunday. And see, I gotta have an attitude matching the outfit, because I can't keep you always all in his face and smiling all the time. When I come in looking like Jessica Rabbit, I gotta look like I'm about my father's business, but sexy at the same time. So now I'm over here working on stuff. He passed by. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Jason. You look good. Thank you. Kill, thank you. God bless you, beautiful. You look beautiful. Thank you. Point two. Second time. He must really like me in his red. He gonna see a whole lot of that red. And I'm telling the truth. I went to the South when I said that. Ain't I'm telling the truth? Not am I telling the truth? I went to the South. I went to the South. I went to the deep South. Ain't I'm telling the truth? He gonna say a lot of that red because I'm getting a lot of attention. I'm saying this to say, wherever your treasures are, your heart will be also. Your heart is in Fred, Jason, whatever we call him, Jason, Freddie, Jason. I don't care. That's where your heart is. So because your heart's there, guess what you're doing? You decorating yourself. That money that you could have put in church so they can help, fix some of the stuff around the church. It ain't going to the church. It ain't going in the church. Because you ain't got that much money left after you got to decorate yourself for Fred, Jason. You got $3 for the church and a clap. Because you spent $350 trying to make sure. Because, I don't know. The Jessica Rabbit, we got to make sure. Can you remember this look was popular? Hey, come to church like this. Hey, Tiffany, hey. Hey. Well, I got to move my hair in my eye for me to see. You're supposed to be able to see it all the time. God gave you the eye for you to be able to see. The eye was never supposed to be covered up, but here we are. And I know that was my generation. Just sitting there. Just sitting there trying on all these different looks. $350 for Sunday. Hoping that Fred gonna choose you. Or Jason gonna choose you. Am I lying? Am I lying? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Hoping that he gonna choose me today. He gonna love this particular look. He gonna love this particular look. If that don't work, I'm gonna come with 2 ponytails so I can look like a little girl. Because maybe that's what he need. Maybe he into the whole I'm gonna show up with 2 ponytails. Cassandra, thank you, bless you, thank you for PayPal. I'm gonna show up like a little girl. I'm gonna have my hair in 2 ponytails and I'm gonna be chewing some bubble gum. No, I didn't forget the bubble gum. I'm taking this day. I'm taking this back to the 90s. I'm gonna give me one of them lollipops that turn into bubble gum. I'm just gonna be sitting on the front row of the church with my red lipstick on, and I'm gonna be the 2 ponytails and a short skirt. And I'm gonna have my legs crossed, and I'm gonna act like I'm just too serious to praise the Lord. I'm gonna have my makeup look like I play. I'm just gonna be role character, and I'm just gonna be sucking on my lollipop. Yep, maybe he'll choose that version of him. He'll choose that version of me. Schoolgirl look. All right, let's move on. Number 14, the use of unhealed childhood trauma. The use of unhealed childhood trauma. Blow pops, right? The enemy loves to make sure that you have unhealed childhood trauma. Anti-marriage spirits work to bring trauma and then encourage that you don't heal from the childhood trauma by making sure that you are surrounded by traumatized people and you develop customs and cultures and beliefs that not only make trauma look normal, but set the stage for you to get re-traumatized again. You thought the trauma was just some random act that happened against you. No, the devil's intentional, baby. When the enemy used your parents to wound you, when the enemy used your siblings to wound you, when the enemy used your community, your family to wound you, the enemy has something in mind. And the thing about it is, what we tend to surround ourselves with the people that we relate to the most. And whenever you're wounded, you surround yourself with wounded people. And wounded people wound people. They're going to keep re-injuring you. They're going to keep getting re-injured. So now your friend come home, she come back and she like, eh, and you're like, what happened? And she started telling you what Freddie Jason did to her, right? How he cheated on her, and she found out that he was going with another girl and all that other stuff. Now you mad. Now you over there talking about these men, girl. I'll pull up with you. Where he work at, girl? We need to pull up on him. And you end up going in that cycle. You end up going in that trauma cycle. And so all of your life, you end up in a cycle that only allows you to date traumatized men or traumatized women. I'm revelating. You just got to hear. That cycle, traumatized people only attract traumatized people. Broken people attract broken people. Broken people break people, and they continue to break each other. That's the nature of the relationship. That's the only way they stay together. If there's a broken man in a relationship and a broken woman in a relationship, they can relate to each other. The two walk together when they're agreed. However, if that woman starts to go to therapy, she goes to church, she takes accountability, and she starts to heal, her husband will injure her all the more because he's losing her every time she heals a crack in her soul. Every time she begins to take accountability, every time she takes the word and stores it in her heart, every time she repents for her sin, every time she goes and has another therapy session, every time she sits back and she does some work and she starts to do what God told her to do, she starts to heal. And as she's healing, he's losing her. He's losing her. And so because he recognizes that he's losing his wife, in many cases, he will continue to re-injure her. Meaning, in many cases, it could be him emotionally abusing her. He may graduate to physically abusing her, or he'll start tearing down her self-esteem he'll start cheating on her. And that's an attack against her self-esteem. He will do whatever he can to make sure that she stays within his realm and his reach. But if she turns around and she takes all of that pain that he's giving her and she starts to heal all the more and she asks God for wisdom and revelation, she could potentially win him with her behavior. Or if she heals enough, what's going to happen is she'll be able to see him for what he is. And consequently, if he goes out and cheats, she can walk away. She can legally walk away. Or he'll go to running because James 4:7 says, submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The enemy traumatized you, and to this day, he still traumatizes you so he can set the stage for the next man. When one man comes to traumatize you, he's setting the stage for the dude that's coming after him. When a dude that comes after him traumatizes you, is setting the stage because the devil ain't gonna let you have no one relationship, right? He gonna keep you in rotation. He's gonna keep you in rotation. So can I say something to those of you who are on a healing journey? Let me know you're in the room. Be sure to like and share if you haven't already. We're almost done. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this because I don't want to go too far into this. Right? It includes all relationships. Any type of relationship, if a person is wounding you or injuring you in any type of way, that person is injured. That is not a relationship that should have access to your heart. Your heart's supposed to be guarded. This is God gave you a command: guard your heart. For out of it are the issues of life. Now, that's not a commandment, but that's what God told you, right? It's more so instructive. But He said, guard your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. You're not supposed to allow a person to have access to your heart who has trouble guarding their own. If a person is wounded and that person begins to injure you, then you're supposed to put a boundary up. And in many cases, you have to go no contact because you have to recognize that this person is sick and what they have they're going to give to me. That's why the Bible says, make no friends with an angry man lest you learn his ways. So that means that if I'm friends with an angry man, then he's going to teach me to be angry as well. Whatever a person is, that's what they pass to you. If what a person has is what you don't want, you don't give that person access. If a person has something, the only access that you give to a person that doesn't have what you have is ministerially. And that's going to have to be limited. That's going to have to be prayed about. And that's going to have to be strategic. But you don't give a person romantic access to you when they need healing. Right? You don't give somebody, if I'm talking to a man and I recognize he has anger issues, I cut access because he's going to make me angry. He didn't resist or overcome that spirit when it came his way. Consequently, he got wounded. So if I had clay, I would tell you, I would use the clay to demonstrate that he's in a shape of anger. Whatever that spirit is, he's in a shape of anger. So he's going to mold me to be angry too. Not intentionally, but he can only walk with me if we agree. He needs to be able to relate to me. So he will anger me constantly. I always talk about, not always, but I mentioned on TikTok the other day, I mentioned when I was 16 years old. I had this little boyfriend. We've been boyfriend girlfriend for like 2 years, right? Or close to 2 years. And I remember breaking it off with him because he took joy in ticking me off. He took joy in it. And I'm not talking about me being easily angered. I'm not easily angered, nor am I easily offended. I find everything funny. But he would intentionally do stuff to make me angry. And then he'd be like, "You mad? You mad?" And he loved it. Right? He loved it. And at first, when you're young, you're inexperienced and what have you. At first, I was just like, "Could you please stop doing that? I don't find that funny at all." And I was like, "Could you stop doing it? Don't do that. You ain't got to hurt me or upset me or what have you." And finally, toward the end, he did something I feel like he couldn't come back from. He started letting the female call him, and he was like, "You mad? You mad because I got." And I was like, "Yeah, nah, you can go ahead and get off my phone. Don't ever call me again." And he thought I was joking because I had done that before, right? I had my little tantrums or what have you, but I was super serious. Why? Because I came to the end of a matter. I came to a conclusion, right? And that's what ends a thing. A conclusion is a period at the end of a sentence. And so I came to a conclusion that while we had tenure and I was pretty sure that our relationship would have grown, that if I married him, he would spend the rest of his life hurting me and upsetting me. He would spend the rest of his life hurting and upsetting me, and he would think it was funny. In other words, he liked angry Tiffany. He liked angry Tiffany. He did not like, he liked the Tiffany that was calm and collected, but he had episodes. He liked angry Tiffany. I don't want angry Tiffany. I didn't want to be angry Tiffany. I wanted to be calm and collected. But because he kept trying to get that part of me out, I pulled away. Does that make sense? Let me see where we were. The use of unhealed childhood trauma. You're definitely a stronghold. Whenever a person has an admiration for something that's dysfunctional, it's because it's feeding something in them. Okay? Sometimes it's a spirit, sometimes it's a wound. It's feeding something in them, is feeding on that. Right. So you have some people, for example, they love to scare people. Like they just won't stop. You got that guy that's a boyfriend and practical jokes and what have you fun, but people can overdo it. Like they just take it to the top, take it to the max. And no matter what you say, please don't do this. That hurt. I don't like being scared. I don't like nobody doing it. Please stop. And they just won't stop doing it or what have you. In a case like that, that's a stronghold. That person is feeding something in that person. Is feeding something in that person. There are situations where, every once in a blue moon, what have you, you could just communicate, "Hey, don't do that. I don't like that," or what have you. And the person's not married to that. So they just say, "Hey, okay, cool. I won't do that to you. I'll do that to my little sister. Or I'll do that to this person." But whatever, it's a stronghold for a person. No matter what you say, they got to do it. They still got to do it. So I think about, there was a video I watched online and, it was horrible. They were at their wedding. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. A man and woman will get married, and the guy ended up. I think he smashed his wife face into the cake, or he smashed cake all over her face, and she ran out of there crying. And he did it. I'm talking about, he did it violently. He did it like this is their wedding day. He went out of his way like just to, and she ran out of there crying. And the story was that, and I could be telling it wrong, but the story was that she asked him before they got married, say, "Hey, I don't like the humiliation ritual, smashing cake on the face. Please don't do that to me, and I'm not going to do that to you." And she kept begging him. She went out there time and time again because she knew he liked to be a practical jokester. She kept asking him, she kept begging him, and he kept saying he wasn't going to do it. And then the day of the wedding, he not only did it, but he put his back into it. The day of the wedding, he not only did it, but he went out of his way to really humiliate her, like to really make it. And she ran out of there and cried. And when she ran out of there, she went and annulled the marriage. Right. She went and annulled the marriage. And of course, you have a divide across both lines, and men over there like, oh yeah, that was terrible, but she shouldn't have divorced him. And the women are like, yeah, no, she did the right thing to annul it. And the reason that women echo that, and I think women universally echo that, is because he demonstrated that the most important, the date to her that was the most important to her, that what a person would do to you in a moment that you have kind of looked forward to shows you their character in its most naked form. Right? It shows you their character in its most naked form. And he showed her that day that he hated her. That she was an object, that she wasn't that important, because we all know what's important to the people that we love. It may not be that important to them, right? It may not be that important to you. But if a person expresses to me like, hey, this is like sacred to me, this is like this is like that, then if I care about that person, then I'm going to take care for that. Right? Regardless of the fact that it may not be that big of a deal for me, then I'm going to take care. I got to take into consideration that this person finds this big. I may not understand it. I'm not set to understand everything. Everybody has their own individualism, which is actually beautiful. I think that sometimes people think that just because you're not like me, I don't want to be around you. No, I actually think individualism is beautiful, which is why I think that my friendships, whenever I've had friends and stuff like that, none of my friends, past or present, could ever say I've been a bad friend with them. They always say, hey, she was a great friend, an amazing friend, because I celebrate your individualism. I celebrate what makes you different. Now, if there's some ghetto, ratchet, crazy stuff up in there, I'm gonna talk to you about it at some point, right? I'll say, hey, you need to get rid of that. But your individualism does not threaten me. I don't care if you vote one direction, I vote one direction. I don't give 3 rat's feathers, right? I'm not into all of that. I ain't into I don't take all of that stuff to my core. I ain't deleting you on social media just because you voted one way, or you believe this, or you believe something, or what have you. I posted up that I'm glad I didn't take the vaccine. Baby, some people got mad at me. And I tell you, there got to be some type of special retardation, some type of special something wrong with you when somebody's choice for what they do with their own body really aggravates you to the point where you get to your keyboard and go in a rigor mortis form, and your fingers arch up, and you go to doing all that and deleting, cutting people off. When I tell you there's something got to be wrong, I'm like, something fell loose in your brain. And I tell you, I would not be on social media. I would be at a therapist. Like, I don't know why this hurts. I don't know why that bothers me. That's not passion. That's not passion. That's witchcraft on a whole other level. I understand passion. Be passionate about some things. Some people are called to certain things, and I love to watch them. I love the uniqueness of our gifts. All right. I love the uniqueness of our gifts. That's why I say one of the beliefs that I can't, well, one of the things I know I come to help, like one of my assignments is to reconcile the church, right? To reconcile the members, meaning this section of the church that says, well, we do deliverance. And that section of the church said, we're trying to help people to get their abundance back. And that section of the church that says, we try to bring love and forgiveness. All of these were never supposed to be divided. It's just that immaturity in American church makes us hyperfixate, right? It makes us like, well, you're not like me, then you must be a heretic, or what have you. And I'm not saying you reconcile all of it, because some stuff is demonic. But whenever that becomes a hyper grace, or when it becomes hyperfixation, it can become idolatry, right? And so, for me, I have a pretty chill attitude about everything. Like, a lot of stuff that will make you blow a gasket don't do jack for me. It doesn't do anything for me. Stuff that make other people blow gases don't do anything for me, because it's life, and then you die. There are people in other countries that got far bigger problems. Like, they're killing Christians in other countries, And y'all over here crying about who voted for who. Y'all crying about, I said, I'm thankful I didn't put that vaccine in my body. And you got folks, when I tell you they came on my page, baby, come with me as I go and navigate American Christianity, try to figure out what the heck is wrong with these people. People flipping out. You this, you that. I said, I ain't never had so many politics on my page in my day. Goodness gracious. Nevertheless, for me, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't bother me. I'm that person that finds things funny, but I also see the purpose in it. I say, okay, God is opening another door. If God wants me to go through that door, I'm going to come over there and torch some stuff. No, I was saying I posted to my page. I'm glad I didn't get the vaccine, and I believe that it was a pre-test run for the market of the beast. I didn't say it was the market of the beast. It was a pre-test run, and baby, I tell you, I had so many toothless Confederate flag toting folks in my comment section. So many redneck. I ain't never seen so many just Billy Bobs. And I ain't talking about white people. So my white brothers and sisters, y'all know who I'm talking about, that sector of white people. I ain't never seen so many of them in my comment section. I ain't never seen so many gums in my life. All right. They're like, I'm looking at my comment section and I'm laughing. I am so, I laugh and then I think, what's wrong with me? Why do I find this kind of stuff interesting? Why do I find it funny? Oh, what have you? But God just made me like that. I'm just been looking like this child here. One dude put a plate. He took a picture. Well, not a picture. He got it off the internet, or he probably would doodle on a plate and put it in my comment section. Right. All right. I found it. I woke up this morning to that. I was already coughing. So you got to imagine me waking up. I didn't spent time with God, spent prayers and stuff like that. And I finally pick up my phone. And I'm coughing, right? And then I look at my phone. So now I'm laughing and coughing at the same time. That's what my morning looked like, me coughing and laughing at the same time. And then thinking to myself, you think you're on the spectrum? All right. Number 15. Ushering in pride so Leviathan can hit the person. Anti-marriage spirits do this, right? They usher in pride so that Leviathan can hit the person. It's hard to marry somebody, and that's the last of this list, and then we're going to move on to the spirits of divorce tomorrow. But one of the greater weapons to ensure that you never get married is to make sure that you have a spirit of pride, ego, and pride comes to guard a wound. All right, it comes to guard a wound, and pride also guards ignorance. Where an area where you have no revelation, where you should be getting mentored, it becomes guarded by you trying to pretend you know better or pretend you know a little bit of something. So consequently, you become unteachable in that area. All right. I have empathy for it too, and there's no judgment because I most of the people I know got the jab. I know most of the people I know, so it don't judgment or what have you. But I do think, and I want to say this as a Christian, that I think of myself as mature. At least I'm maturing. It's okay for people that didn't do it to celebrate themselves, because the folks had their chance that did it to celebrate themselves. So I think that it's okay for people to celebrate themselves without other people that did not do it feeling slighted. Because I think that anytime, I think we have a comparison competition culture in America that has bled over into the church. Whereas where people were getting the jabs and talking negatively about the folks who didn't get the jab, and they were loud and proud, then the people who didn't get the jab were silent because they were afraid of being attacked, and they didn't want nobody to know. They didn't want to be judged. They didn't want their jobs threatened. They didn't want to have nothing, so they were quiet. And so now all of this stuff come out, and now people are celebrating. Then you got the folks who got it, or not all, but you have some people who are more immature who got it, and they're taking it as an attack against them when it's never intended to be an attack. It's just people saying, I'm glad that I didn't do it. All right. So that is a saying, that's part of me uniting the church, is to get you to understand it's okay for people to celebrate in an area that they had a victory and you didn't feel victorious. All right. It's okay for people to celebrate. It's not always an attack against you. It's not always an attack against you. You got to be careful to stop trying to control how people do Christianity and how people respond and how people feel. All right. You got to get to the point where it no longer bothers you that people, we don't all have the same stories. We don't all have the same overcomings, victories, or defeats. That's the beautiful part. And we can still come together and talk and laugh and all that other stuff, but it requires a degree of maturity and a degree of healing for me to sit in a room with people that make different choices than me, and I can tell them about my choices. And baby, when I tell you, if I never told you nothing, it really sets the stage. I've had, even when I was in the world, some of the moments I remember the hardest were me in a room with people that we didn't agree in every area. And baby, when I tell you, I laughed in those rooms, we all laughed. I'm talking about we were on the floor laughing and crying real tears, stomach curled up. And you ever been in a room with people and 5 minutes later, everybody's still laughing? That's the beauty and difference. Because somebody gonna say something that they did that you wouldn't have done and got a result that you would have never thought that happened. Now it's funny as heck because you're like, what? Or what happened? And everybody's on the floor laughing. So I'm saying this to say, because it is, I'm gonna call it what it is. It's an impoverished way of thinking when you can only relate to one type of person. All right, when you can only relate to one type of person, you can only have people around you that think like you, are like you, that is control. But whenever you learn and you travel the world and you get out there and you get around people that don't have the same testimony, you learn that life is actually very interesting and beautiful. It's good. You learn that life is interesting and beautiful. I'm intrigued by a lot. That's me. My brain is intrigued by a lot. And I love to learn different things about different people, to be around different people. And I love the differences. When we go on our cruises, me and my students go on our cruises, I love it because we come from so many different worlds and all of that kind of stuff. And it's beautiful to me. It's beautiful. I love to see the differences. For me, I love to see God's creativity and his design. Like, I love to see that. I can't stand to see when a person feels like that they are the nose and everybody else should be a nose too. Everybody else should think this way. Everybody else should be this way. Everybody else should feel this way. I'm like this. You don't know what I've been through. And I'm done. That's disgusting to me. That is absolutely disgusting to me. It's beautiful when you can have a person over here that has a skill set that you don't have, or has an experience that you have had. Why do you think so many of you are interested in my story? Because I got crazy stories that you never lived. Right? I got crazy stories that you've never lived. I've been partially kidnapped, right? I didn't hid in sheds. I didn't have some crazy stories with dudes, right? From stuff I did in my youth. People are intrigued by that stuff because they wonder how the heck. It's funny. It's sad. It's educational. But at the end of the day, it's funny too. It's funny because you get to see the stupid stuff that people did, the dumb ideas that they actually said that's a good idea, and then they went and did it, and then they were with another person who was equally as stupid, and that person went and did something dumb as a result, and now you got a crime scene. Now you got a crime scene, and you got somebody with a mug shot that look like this. It's life. Laugh a little, live a little. When you go before God, I don't want to go before God a bitter person. I don't want to go before God like all of the things that happened to me and all these wicked and ratchet people. I live my life. Trust me. I'm finna get ready to get up out of here. I live my life laughing. I laugh every day. It's been hard to laugh with this cough because I really go into choking spells over there sometimes. I be laughing. Oh, say that rebuke your name, Jesus. I laugh. I don't like to be around miserable people. Because I don't understand you. I don't understand them. I don't understand why you're miserable. I find humor in everything. When that spider, I sprayed that spider and that thing stood there for 5 minutes and still didn't die. I said, what manner of beast are you? Who sent you? Right? I be in my house laughing. I'm like, you still standing there? Would you think this is a cologne show? What is this? You thought this was baby oil? The daddy party? I spend my life laughing. And when you see me come on here, I have a sense of humor because I'm literally like this outside of, y'all see me on social media. I laugh at myself. I laugh at myself. I laugh at my story. I laugh at the stuff that I went through. I find that stuff funny. Me too. I kid you not. I deal with supernatural gratitude every single day of my life. I feel it. I get overtaken by it. I get overwhelmed by it. I be in my bed, especially happens to me right when I'm in my bed, getting ready to go to bed. Like I get overwhelmed by gratitude. It just takes over. I get overwhelmed. I'll sit up and write a song. I'll be so happy. I'd be so happy. Why? Because I took accountability. I healed. I got a relationship with the Most High God. I put Him over myself. And then at the same time, when God gives you understanding of how the stuff that you used to do and why you did it and the folks you came in contact with as a result of the crazy way you thought and how crazy they were too, all that stuff become funny. Yeah, they out here getting free body spray. I sprayed him, and he thought he was in an R&B. He started shaking his head. I'm like, really? I'm like, really? I can spray him with ant spray. It is to say, guys, God is good. God is beautiful. God is faithful. God is wonderful. Life ain't bad. It's just a perspective. It's just a perspective. You know, some people like narcissists. I laugh at a narcissist. I literally find them humor. I find the humor in a person being a narcissist. I'm sad for them and I want them to get free, and I'm passionate about them getting free. But if they don't get free and I realize that they're a child of the dark one, or what have you, it's sad, but at the same time, the dumb stuff they do is funny. Mullein leaf tea. I actually got some of it up in there. Thank you, beautiful. I'm gonna try it. I hope it ain't expired because I've had it for a long time. Life is funny. I've come to realize, some of y'all might know, that is the manifestation of joy. I truly have the fruit of the spirit. One of the fruit of the spirits I know I have all 9 of them, I believe. I look and I'm like, I got all 9. But the one I know that I have, I know I got joy. I know I got joy because if you saw me outside today, I went outside because I bought this poor choices. All right. I bought this big thing of M&Ms, which I know I'm not supposed to do because I'm getting ready to go into this health thing, right? I bought this big thing of M&Ms, and I was just trying to have my last little rodeo. And I put some inside of a Ziploc bag, right? So just moderate, control it. I got me some. I put some inside of a Ziploc bag. My little be off leash. I took him outside. We let the sun shine in our face. I'm out there eating M&Ms from a Ziploc bag and stretching my arms out. Oh, literally. Just out there enjoying the sun hitting my face. I looked down at my dog. My dog looked there with his face basking. We happy. Okay? We happy. We got joy. We got the joy of the Lord. We got the peace of God that passes all understanding. That's what happens when you stay in the face of God. A curly hair tarantula. I'm trying to tell you. Next time one come up in this house, I'm gonna record him. I'm gonna record his slaughter. I'm gonna be creative, and for those of you be like, "Those God's animals, how could you do something like this? Pestilence, baby? I'm killing that spider." Next one come up in my house, I'm gonna try to find a creative way to take him out of here. Because if he don't respect this spider and scorpion spray, I gotta take him out of here another way. All right, I might just go back to the shoe. I was trying not to get him with the shoe, but I might have to go back to the shoe. But I'm trying new things. If I gotta L green them, because I think the spiders here, you gotta L green them. You gotta get them hot grits. Because they stay still for a long time, especially the big ones. I don't think they feel like walking. I'm going to the kitchen and boil some grits. I'm going to that kitchen and boil some grits. Okay, cool. Let me try it. I'm gonna go in the kitchen, boil me some grits, and then I'm gonna see what happens. And I'll record. If you pouring hot grits, no, because y'all try to counsel me. If I put hot grits on the spider, y'all would try to counsel me. Y'all be like, "Hey, that was a little bit too much. You ain't had to L green that spider." It's raid hot grits. What you want? Ushering in pride so Leviathan can head up the home. Make sure you get rid of Leviathan. All right. Make sure you get rid of Leviathan. That's the closing note. Get rid of Leviathan. That spirit is very normal. It is the king of the proud, and Leviathan won't let you get married. He's sure not gonna let you stay married. He's the king. So if he's your king, you're gonna have to dethrone him. And you go through your process. And like I said, I'll do an ebook or what have you, with the notes and stuff like that. And I'll make sure it's all encompassing of today's notes and tomorrow's notes as well. But you're going to have to dethrone Leviathan. You're going to have to dethrone Leviathan because, and at the same time, just a little bit of information, and I'll do a part 2 tomorrow and we'll finish this up. Don't marry somebody bound by Leviathan because you're not going to deliver. Don't marry somebody that's bound by the spirit of pride, who don't have the inability to hear, who twist your words, who yell. Don't because they're already twisted, and that's that. A house divided can't stand. You will be married into a house with already a cracked foundation. You're already setting yourself up for failure. So you want to marry somebody who's healed, intentional, somebody who has overcome Leviathan, because many people have to overcome Leviathan because it came in through their bloodline. You want to overcome it, but you want to marry somebody that has overcome it as well. Because then, trust me, and I'll say this and I'm going to go. Whenever you get healed and you get delivered, you find the value in truth. The truth becomes beautiful. This is the honest to God truth. The truth becomes beautiful. And what I mean by that, you lose the shame of your past. You lose the shame of your thoughts, your inner thoughts. Sometimes some of you're not very expressive because you're ashamed of the thoughts that come up in your mind, right? So if you want something from a person, but you're too ashamed to say it, it makes you an enemy. It makes you very difficult to trust. But the more you heal and you get the Leviathan out of your soul, the more you begin to love the spirit of truth, right? Which is God. You begin to love truth, and you start taking value in just being straight honest with people. And then you start finding value in people who think like you, because is nothing hidden. And I promise you, it feels like the greatest form of safety there is, because I can be my real self with this person and say, yeah, I don't want to do that. And they laugh and say, me neither. Oh, girl, I'm glad you said that. Me neither. I was hoping somebody said something. And you find that you've lived your life under control, trying to worry about what other people think. And then you get that freedom. You get that joy of just being just who you are and just talking to people, and no insults, that y'all just loving each other. It's the most beautiful experience. And I'll tell you the truth, once you taste it, you'll never go back to sitting around liars. It's the most beautiful experience. Once you taste it, you will never want to go back to sitting around people that feel unsafe, people who hide things, people who play games, because you're like, yeah, I ain't going back to this. You're not about to take me back to that mentality. You're not about to take me where I got to now match you so that we can get along. Okay, we'll do. Thank you, sis. I'm going to come back and find this comment. We'll do. We'll do. For sure. Thank you. You find the joy. So I'm saying this to say, get rid of Leviathan. You would genuinely find the joy. And we all say we want safety, but safety is vulnerability. We all want safety. I can be who I genuinely am, and you still care. And that's why we love God so much, because he knows us inside out. He knows everything there is to know about us, and he still loves us, and he still wants us, right? You have to heal and get rid of Leviathan so that he's no longer making you feel like you have to hide and you have to be a certain way so that people will accept you. Leviathan encourages the mask wearing. He encourages you to maintain an image. Leviathan encourages lying. Leviathan encourages a lot of things that set the stage for you to break up, to have failed relationships, because he's a covenant breaking spirit. But the spirit of truth allows you to meet people and genuinely love them regardless of what their condition, and they see your condition and you see their condition, and you love each other, right? Whether that's a friend, a co-worker, you genuinely love each other. A romantic partner, you genuinely love each other. You're vulnerable and you cover each other. And that's how oneness happens, because there's nothing else in the way. But anywho, I'm going to come back tomorrow, God willing. I'm going to come back tomorrow and I will do part 2, because I don't want to hold you guys up all night. Number 1. Number 2, if you are here in the Atlanta, Georgia area and you want some deliverance, I got something for you. Yeah. See. Let me see if my dad didn't send me 2 messages. I'm trying to ask myself, do I want to sit up and listen? Because they're going to both be 10 minutes long. Jesus. Hey. Right here. Gabor Conference, August 7th and the 8th. You can find the conference on, you can find Brother Torrance Solomon on my Facebook page. This is where I'm going to be. All right. I can't make it clean up. Clear. I'm trying to see how I make it clear. There we go. Be sure to be there. That's going to be, I don't know if they're going to stream it. That's going to be here in Atlanta. It's at GaborConference.com, GIBBOR conference.com. Go register. 14th and the 15th, I'll be in Dallas, Texas at the banquet conference. So there's going to be deliverance there. Be sure to be there as well. I'll come back and give you, yeah. It's going to be Soar the Banquet. I'll post information about that as well. And then after that, we need the Hill Conference here in Atlanta is already booked. So that's going to be the next weekend. So it's to say I got a good month ahead of me, but this weekend coming up, be sure to be at the Torrance Solomon Conference. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be powerful. For those of you who are thinking about it, I wouldn't think about it. I'll just get there. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Amen. Come on down here. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I'll see you soon. Talk to you tomorrow, guys. All right.